That's that easy. Now we can both breathe happy for Breeze. La 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 la.
Here's Brandon with Parkway Sleep Centers.
Tired of waiting for a sleep treatment? At other sleep centers, it can take 6 to 8 months just to get an appointment and cost you thousands more. Not Parkway Sleep Health Centers. We schedule you within weeks and we'll save you money too. We have over 20 years of experience serving the Triangle. Let our expert team help you sleep better sooner.
End your sleep problems. Live your best life. Experience the Parkway Sleep difference. Visit parkwaysleep.com and start your journey to better sleep today. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep. Sound health.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-885-9700. 800-885-9700. 800-885-9700.
Global Golf, Carolina's home to the largest selection of pre-owned golf gear, is having a 2-day sidewalk sale this Friday and Saturday only. Get huge deals like drivers starting at $50, golf bags starting at $40, and golf shirts starting at $15. Get these special deals and more only at the Global Golf Retail Store, located on 7320 ACC Boulevard, North Raleigh. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6. Global Golf, home of the best deals in golf.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
The North Carolina Courage is the only professional women's soccer club in the world to bring home gold, silver, and bronze medals this year. And you could win a season ticket package including 4 tickets to every home game in 2025. Visit WRAL.com and search Courage to enter.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Raleigh's injury lawyers.
Bounces his way into the end zone. Touchdown!
Visit GotBrian.com.
That's GotBrian.com.
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
But one thing about Alabama.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Football is on the menu tonight.
Showtime, prime time.
And we're delivering some fresh NFC action.
Here we go, here we go, here we go. Woo!
It's Dallas and the New York Giants.
Y'all know what time it is, huh?
Pregame starts at 7:30.
Hey, together, baby. We just do this one play at a time.
The NFL on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wake Med.
We came here for one thing, to win.
99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hi, it's the Adam Gold Show. How are you? Off to a flying start. Oh, man.
Is it Monday? What happened while I was gone?
Oh, Helene gets in the way of everything. No, it's all right.
I leave for one day and it's just madness? What's going on?
I was excited. It started off, we were going to get a Chip Patterson clip there.
I know.
Going to get me fired up on a Thursday.
Chip thinks I'm ducking him.
Right. It's true, because you were out yesterday.
I know.
Did you do anything fun yesterday? I'm Adam. By the way, that's Victoria. As we started in the middle of the show, I guess. What'd you do yesterday?
Yesterday was my 6-month hair appointment and dentist appointment.
At the same time?
Close. It's one right after the other.
Okay.
It'd be great if they did it at the same time.
6-month hair appointment?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I
Really?
know. I know some do it regularly. I know you know all about that because
Yes.
of wifey, but yeah. I try to stretch it out.
All right.
Because my girl's on the other side of the state. So
where do you have to go?
So I go back to my old stomping grounds. She's in Stoneville.
Well, I don't know where Stoneville is. Where's Stoneville?
It's right beside my hometown of Mayodan.
Oh, okay. I don't know where that is either.
It's north of Greensboro. I know you know where Greensboro is.
I know where that is. We need to get Tim Peeler on from NC State, because he knows where every city, hamlet, municipality in the state of North Carolina is.
He would know that then, for sure.
He could give you intersections from all
that
of
good.
those places. Well, your hair looks lovely.
Oh, thank you.
That's actually an HR violation. I'm not even allowed to say that, I think.
You can. It's
I can.
fine. It's not weird.
Well, you would have to file a complaint, which I
Right.
hope you wouldn't.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm good.
But all right, well, welcome to the Adam Gold Show. You joined us in the middle. So did we. We're available on YouTube. I'll wave to the camera. You can,
Right.
You can, contribute to the show. We have a little comment box that you can type stuff in, and Victoria will bring it to my attention if it's worthy. By all means. We also have a best of the Adam Gold Show podcast when this is all over. Say hi. If you give us we should start reading reviews of things like that.
Yeah.
If you want to give us a 5-star review, we'll read it. Tell us what you like.
Yeah.
Or what you don't. We won't read that,
Or
though.
even a not 5. Tell us what you don't like. We don't want to encourage
Let's
that.
read this 2-star review. No, we're not doing that.
Why do you hate us?
We're not doing that.
We're good people.
So by all means, do all of that. All right, this is the start of your sports weekend, so let's start. Weekend starts with Thursday night football, doesn't it? Do we have any college games worth even mentioning tonight?
I don't
remember
know.
when college football was a Thursday night thing? Mm-hmm. And then the NFL went, we could play games on Thursday night too.
We're going to take that.
And college went, we're going to stop playing on Thursday
It's
night.
like Monopoly when they have all the houses.
Right.
Like, no, I'm going to be greedy and take that one too.
Exactly. And then they start buying up railroads, which on the low is pretty efficient if you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But the start of your sports weekend on Thursday night football has the Cowboys playing at the Giants. Some people are calling this a do-or-die game for the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I don't think the Cowboys are awesome. But I don't think it's a do-or-die game because I just don't think it's going to take 12 wins to win their division. I don't think the Eagles are getting to 12. I think you can win that division with 11, and Dallas is even at 1-2. If they lose this game and go to 1-3, I think they can still get to 11 wins. Maybe I'm crazy. But because it's Dallas, everything will be either the greatest thing or the worst thing we have ever seen. And certainly their defense is not good. The other side of that is that because Washington right now appears to be, Washington and Philadelphia appear to be the formidable opponents. And, of course, Dallas is just a game behind the two of them. We're going to find out about Washington this week. And I know on the surface doesn't look like the Commandos have a difficult game, but something tells me that it's not going to go well for the Commandos at Arizona. File that away. Now, if Washington goes out and takes care of business, we can say, well, it was just Arizona, except it's just Washington. So these are indicator games for me. If the Commandos are going to push at the top of the division, it's one you got to have.
Yeah.
No way getting around it.
Mm-mm.
You have to win these types of games. So we will we'll find out. Otherwise, we're going to be already in the position of we can't have nice things for Washington fans. It's I think a really cool fourth week of the season. I'm going to run down a few games, and later on in the program, we'll do top 5 and bottom 5, the best 5 and the worst 5 teams in the NFL with a glaring omission. Saints-Falcons, one game to watch this week. These are, I guess, are they the two best teams in the division? No, maybe not.
Not this week. It's the Panthers.
That's
I'm
right.
just kidding.
Hey,
their record still isn't
just
better.
a game back. Just a game back. Saints-Falcons. Pittsburgh is in Indy. The exact same thing I just said about Washington applies to the Steelers.
Yes.
This is sort of a watch-out game for them. Not that Indy is great, because they are not. But who really buys Pittsburgh at 3-0? I don't. But I think they're a 10-win team. But if they get to 4-0, we're talking about a lot has to go wrong for them to miss the playoffs if they start 4-0. Bucks host Philly. I don't know how Tampa lost at home to Denver last week.
Me either.
I really don't.
So bad.
This is a must-win for Tampa, actually, I feel. And Philadelphia's got an opportunity to get to, 3-1 with a win here? They just beat the Saints, right? They beat the Saints on Sunday.
Barely.
In a game where it didn't look like either team really wanted to win. Vikings and Packers in Green Bay. Fascinating game for me. Aaron Jones, now with the Vikings, was with the Packers, going back to Lambeau Field. Already talking about the Lambeau Leap. Not a good idea.
Willis showing up big for his first game. So we'll see how that goes.
Vikings are 3-0. Are they?
No.
I don't think they're great either.
I know.
Jets host the Broncos. We'll see if the Jets can get to 3-1. Chiefs are at the Chargers. Kansas City is 3-0, and I don't think they've played a really good football game yet.
No. It's ugly wins.
Yep. And arguably the best team in the league, the Buffalo Bills, play in Baltimore. So this is it. All right, moving on to something that is ongoing right now. It's President's Cup.
I know. There's that.
I love golf. I do. I love it. I love it. President's Cup is this week. It started, about 30 minutes ago. It's not the Ryder Cup. Okay, but here's what the President's Cup does, because it looks, if you were uninitiated, it looks like the Ryder Cup. So it gets me thinking about the Ryder Cup, and I can't muster up quite the same have to watch energy level. Like if this were the Ryder Cup, this would have been a taped segment, and I would have been watching the Ryder Cup.
Right, in the studio.
Right, but it's not the Ryder Cup, so I have it on. By the way, Ryder Cup is a month from, I think, today. Starts at Bethpage in New York, which, the Ryder Cup is awesome, and we'll get a chance to watch Europe crush America's spirit again. Xander Schauffele, Tony Finau, taking on Ben An and Jason Day. Who isn't locked into that match? Jason Day made a 20-footer on the first, and they have I'm sorry, that match is now all square. All square through 2. What did I miss? Colin Morikawa and Sahith Theegala are one up on Minwoo Lee and Adam Scott, for those people scoring at home. College football. When you're the Pac-12, nothing tells you are not a major conference anymore when you have been turned down by South Florida, Texas San Antonio, Memphis, who's the other school? Tulane, UNLV, and Air Force. When those 6 schools say, yeah, nah, that is cold water in the face. You aren't a big deal. We're not coming. It's just not. Like when the ACC invites teams to join the ACC, you don't do that unless you know schools are coming. They come. Big 10, SEC, Big 12, the power leagues. When it's time to extend the invitation, you know the answer. It's sort of like when you ask somebody to marry you. You know the answer. Otherwise, you're not asking the question.
Yeah.
Shouts to all of you who do this at games.
Right, I was about to say the Jumbotrons.
We actually saw a negative response at a game, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago.
Ooh.
Like, don't.
Oh, that's
don't
not
do
good.
It. Now, I don't know if it's I don't want to marry you or are you serious? Are you ruining this moment?
Yeah.
Like by doing it at a game in front of 30,000 people?
Could be that too.
Miss me with that.
Right.
But the Pac-12 has now been turned down by 6 schools from the American or the Mountain West.
Not good.
No. Just tells you where you are in this world. All right, one more thing before we bring in our first guest. We should have been sitting here talking about the Mets and the Braves today. And we will talk about the Mets and the Braves. Grant McCauley covers the Braves for 92.9 The Game in Atlanta, is going to join us in about 15 or so minutes. But they didn't play yesterday, and they're not playing today. Because, well, Helene and whatever the opening act is called for Helene, the pre-storm before the hurricane visits Atlanta. Major League Baseball and the two teams in question knew what was coming 5 days ago. On the weekend, they knew what was coming. Why on earth they didn't tell Atlanta and the Mets, hey, you guys are not going to play Wednesday and Thursday because, torrential rain. So we're going to play this game, the first game Monday, the second game Tuesday, and then we're going to have like a Wednesday 11 a.m. first pitch and see if we can't get the entire series in. But no, that was not presented to the Mets or the Braves. They just said, hey, would you be interested in playing a game Monday? And both the Mets and the Braves said no. Atlanta's looking at, 3 games of 40,000 plus fans. The Mets didn't want to come here on an off day. So both teams went now not interested. Major League Baseball should have simply said, we don't care what you're interested in. Nobody's interested in the two of you coming back and playing a doubleheader on Monday, which is what is going to happen. So here's what is likely. Braves host the Royals this weekend, assuming Kansas City can get to town. Mets are in Milwaukee this weekend, assuming they can get out of Atlanta. I don't know if they left yesterday or not. After this weekend is over, the Mets will fly not back to New York. They will fly back to Atlanta to play a doubleheader on Monday. And if the Mets are fortunate enough to still be a playoff team, they will then fly to either Milwaukee or the West Coast to play either the Dodgers or Padres, depending on what happens in the National League West, and have to start that series Tuesday. So, Sunday afternoon in Milwaukee, 2 games in Atlanta Monday, and then the playoffs if the Mets are fortunate enough to do that. Major League Baseball cannot have nice things because they're dumb. Flat out dumb. In college baseball, not to equate Major League Baseball with college baseball and all of the differences between the two. But if college baseball saw the weather forecast, they would have moved. They do it routinely. We're going to move this game up to here, and we're going to play 2 games here so we can get these games in and everybody can go home. That's what should have happened. But that is not what's going to happen because Major League Baseball. I don't know if baseball is going to come up, but I know we're going to talk hockey with my friend Mike Maniscalco, the voice of your Carolina Hurricanes. I listen to Mike on Tuesday as the Hurricanes do what the Hurricanes do, beat the Tampa Bay Lightning in preseason hockey games. He joins us from Lenovo Center. I have not screwed that up yet.
No, but I am at the Wake Competition Center in Invisalign Arena.
Oh, we're in Invisalign today.
Yes.
Glad I didn't come to practice. That would have been bad for me. All right, I can hear the din of hockey in the background. It's certainly good to be back around the guys, around the team. Quick impressions, and I know you don't do impressions, Mike. Quick impressions of what you saw Tuesday at Amalie Arena.
Well, the first period definitely looked like preseason hockey. That's just to get that one out of the way. It was choppy. There was no flow. The very few guys who I think are going to be on an opening night NHL roster for both teams, it took them a while to get it going. But as the game moved on, the Hurricanes were doing Carolina Hurricanes things and took over the game. Pyotr Kochetkov was exactly what you wanted him to be in that first game. He gives up a goal, but there was nothing he could do about it. There was a good screen out in front, but he was very good And he didn't need to be better than very good, but he was very good throughout. I liked what I saw out of a couple of players early, some young guys like Ronan Seeley making an impression on the blue line. And we say young, he's been around the team for a while now, but Ronan Seeley, I thought, had a decent game. Some of the newcomers who impacted the game on the score sheet, like Tyson Jost, with what he did, and he's mainly responsible for the game-winning goal with 44 seconds left. Thank you for that. And Alexei Hamosalmi throwing that to the front of the net for the 2-1 win. But, as the game went on, it got better. But it really did look like the first preseason hockey game for everybody there.
Mike Maniscalco is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. I am fascinated by how, we know how it's going to start. Jesperi Kotkaniemi is going to play as, pardon me for numbering the lines, as a second-line center for this team. Likely with Martin Necas. I know we practiced also with Andrei Svechnikov, and that trio was together. I think we all remember the way they looked at the start of the season 2 years ago when Necas and Svechnikov got off to such a great start offensively. I'm guessing that's what Rod is thinking about, putting them together, but it's KK and Jack Drury are basically fighting for the same real estate.
Yeah, and I think that's what the rest of training camp in the preseason, Adam, is going to kind of determine, because there's not roster spots open per se like in years past. And in fact, Rod just talked about that, where you'd come to camp and there were 3 open spots and where are they going to fit? Now it's where does everybody slot? So I am going to be really interested when you've got Kotkaniemi and Drury playing in a game. How does Rod mix the lines as the game goes, or does he keep a line going, especially when we get to, maybe more and more NHL players in the roster for these preseason games? But I'm with you, and I don't want to say they're interchangeable, because that means they're, kind of the same. They both bring something different to the party. For me, this is a big year for Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Does he unlock more of that offense that, he was drafted 3rd overall for? And does Jack continue his climb? Because Jack, he does something different in the middle. He's such a responsible two-way player. He gives his wingers a little bit more freedom to do some things. But I'm glad that you brought up 2 years ago, because while it didn't show up on the stat sheet for Kotkaniemi, it showed up on the stat sheet for Necas and Svechnikov. So we'll at least see how the early runnings go. But I think right now, the way too early Gallup poll is projecting Kotkaniemi is going to get the first shot at that 2C.
Yeah, and I think it'll start the season that way. The way I look at it is that it'll be determined during these games, and they're not going to play all the games anyway, whether or not how much runway basically Kotkaniemi has at the start of the season. The the forward prospects played together in the first period. Rod did not like what he saw from that, and justifiably so. They kind of got big boyed by Tampa Bay, and Rod split them up. After that, it looked to me like Jackson Blake certainly played 2 very good periods playing with Jack Drury and Tyson Jost. I don't know if any of the 3 is going to make the roster, but I guess if we were looking at it as a horse race, I would say Jackson Blake's off to a fairly good start.
Yeah, and I think the in vogue thing to say now in sports, we used to always talk about ceilings. Well, now we start talking about players' floors. The floor for Jackson Blake is higher right now than Felix Ungersorum and Bradley Nadeau, because Jackson is a pretty responsible player. He's got some size. He knows how to use that. He goes to the front of the net. But the ceiling for the other 2 is, we'll see where that goes. I wouldn't be shocked if those 3 all end up in Chicago, Adam, and kind of end up on a line to try to dominate in the AHL. One thing about Felix Ungersorum is that game moved on. You remember that was his first game playing center, especially in pro hockey. So that's a lot to ask. He got better in one of the areas that I noticed was in the face-off circle as the game moved on and what to do. I would have liked to have seen more out of Bradley Nadeau because we know that offense is there, but he's going to have ample opportunity this preseason to show it. But of the 3, right now, if you put him on the platform, I would say that Jackson Blake is, if there is a spot open for one of those 3 right now, he's the guy who's the front runner for that spot.
Yeah, and the Hurricanes have so many guys, and I'm assuming that tomorrow night when the Hurricanes host Florida, we'll get a look at Jack Roslovic, maybe playing with Sebastian Aho and Seth Jarvis, and that has been a practice trio at times. All right, let me throw this at you. I know you're a big Yankee fan, right? So for people who don't know, Mike Maniscalco, big Yankee fan.
Oh yeah.
First of all, I appreciate you guys getting Juan Soto warmed up for his tenure with the Mets, so he gets acclimated to the city of New York. I laugh because I don't think it's going to happen. But is your level of confidence in the Yankees in the postseason high?
No, it's mid, because I'm very much Al Pacino in The Godfather 3 now. You know, just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in.
Right.
And I don't want to. This isn't the mid '90s, early 2000 Yankees. It's not even the 2009 Yankees. That said, what baseball has done is they've made the postseason more wide open than it's ever been, which is a good thing. From you've got teams that you just get in and win, and maybe you get hot. But I take a look. Houston's still in the playoffs, and that now seems to be beyond any kind of voodoo that the Yankees are used to getting rid of. The Detroit Tigers are on one of the best heaters to close the season. I mean, they literally – this is one of the better comebacks that we've seen in baseball. I was going to use the Simpsons reference about Lazarus, but I'm going to leave that one alone because, they were left for, see you next season. So does Detroit stay hot? Although you and I both know baseball is funny because you can go in on a losing streak as a playoff team and turn it on, and winning streaks don't mean that much. Baltimore right now is a tough team, and they're not afraid to play the Yankees. In fact, they probably want to play the Yankees. So my level of confidence is middle of the pack, because the other reason, I don't know who's closing games for the Yankees now. There's not Rivera coming out of the pen. We were almost a witness to history this year with Clay Holmes for the most blown saves in a season for New York. So that's the question there. They'll put up runs, but, things get tight in the postseason. So it's, for me, those bullpen matchups that'll be a question mark. And then I know I texted you. I have to bring it on the air.
Sure.
I asked you, what is the most Mets way for the Mets to not make the playoffs this year? And if you were setting up the schedule, basically Major League Baseball did it for them. Remember when Major League Baseball used to do everything right?
No,
now they don't know how to order a hot dog.
It is unbelievable. Major League Baseball should not have left it up to the Mets and Braves to say, no, we don't want to play Monday, because they knew. Because, weather reports, they might not be the most accurate things in the world, but we all knew where Helene was going, and the opening act for Helene was going to get there right in front of her, and we knew there wasn't going to be baseball yesterday and today in Atlanta. So, it's so much better to fly from Milwaukee back to Atlanta, play 2 games, and then, fly to Los Angeles or San Diego for a wild card game. So, the most Mets way will be to lose Sunday in Milwaukee to make this series with Atlanta matter for one of the 2 teams to get in, and then the Mets only have to win one of the 2, but of course get swept in the 2 game in the doubleheader, and then go, well, we don't have to go back to L.A. We could just go home. That would be the Mets way to do it. And I thank Major League Baseball for not saying, you guys are idiots. We'll see you both in Atlanta this past Monday, so they can get this series in. But that isn't what happened. So whatever. It is baseball. Real quick before we go, Mike on Twitter at Mike Maniscalco brought up Bunting. Because he was either watching it or saw an inning in which there were 3 consecutive bunt base hits, and people who know my stance on sacrifice bunting thought you were calling me out. Right? They thought you were calling me out. And what I pointed out was, I have no problem with bunting. I used to love bunting for a base hit or a suicide squeeze. But my gosh, nobody wants to see outs sacrificed, and that is my problem. I am all about a good bunt for a base hit, a good drag bunt. I love a good drag bunt.
Exactly, Adam. That's what I was bringing up because, I understand, and I'm not a complete dinosaur. I understand the role of analytics and if you're bunting, you're not really giving yourself the best chance to maximize your at-bats. Fine, however you wanted to put that. But for me, if you can put the ball in play, and if you can make a pitcher have to field it or a player make a play that he's not used to making because nobody bunts anymore.
No.
And the same thing with stolen bases. I'm sorry, Ricky Henderson was one of my favorite players of all time because a walk was a double, sometimes a triple with Ricky Henderson. And walks were those things where batters had a really good eye and weren't trying to hit a home run, so they would actually walk to first base. And I just saw it, and I wanted to point out, you don't need to see a home run for baseball to be fun. It was funny because immediately, all of a sudden, I'm like, why are people referencing Adam in my feed right now?
Exactly.
And I went, oh, that's right. And I'm with you. I do not enjoy the sacrifice bunt. If you got a professional hitter, he should be able to move over a hitter without asking him to bunt. You got guys at the bottom of the lineup who, I'm going old school. The guys who are hitting 215.
Choking up on the bat.
Going to put the ball in play. Exactly. It's a bunt anyway if they do it. But, to bunt for base hits, drag bunts, that was an art. Phil Rizzuto, now we're dating ourselves, and I did that a lot in college and high school. But when you go back, Phil Rizzuto wins an MVP because he could drag bunt. There's certain things where just for me it was a reminder of, hey, you don't have to try to hit a 3-run home run every time.
Although Earl Weaver would be appreciative of that.
Oh, I know.
But only Orioles fans really get that, and people my age and your age, Mike Maniscalco. All right, sir. Although you're significantly younger than me anyway. All right, man, I'll see you at the arena tomorrow night. I appreciate your time.
You got it, AG. Take it easy.
You
Bye-bye.
got it. Mike Maniscalco here on the Adam Gold Show. When we come back, because we should have been talking about the Mets and the Braves. We should have been, but we're not. But we will. Grant McCauley covers the Braves. Will join us next.
Every day, Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Football is on the menu tonight.
Showtime, prime time.
And we're delivering some fresh NFC action.
Here we go. Woo!
It's Dallas and the New York Giants.
Y'all know what time it is, huh?
Pregame starts at 7:30.
Hey, together, baby. We just do this one play at a time.
The NFL on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wake Med.
We came here for one thing, to win.
99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
It's officially fall, the weather is gray, and we have Thursday night football tonight with the Dallas Cowboys heading to New York to take on the Giants. I'm Victoria Vodnecker here for BetMGM, and this matchup in particular is interesting because both teams currently have the same record, but the Dallas Cowboys are definitely under the microscope, so maybe you think CeeDee Lamb is going to be a touchdown scorer tonight, or Dak Prescott might throw over a certain amount of yards. This would be the perfect opportunity to make a parlay. But that's not the only way to make a Thursday night wager. When you open the BetMGM app, you'll see options like betting the money line, those same game parlays that I mentioned, live bets, prop bets, and BetMGM has reoccurring daily promotions for day of games. All brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Download the app today and please gamble responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only, North Carolina only. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Who's ready for some football? Celebrate the season with award-winning wings and ice-cold pints at Carolina Ale House. With wall-to-wall TVs, Carolina Ale House is the go-to spot for every game. From Honey Buffalo to 5 Alarm to Carolina Barbecue, we've got wing sauces for all flavors. If you're feeling hungry, don't forget about our brisket French dip or Philly cheesesteak. Grab a front row seat, sip on your favorite beer, and watch your squad with us. Carolina Ale House. Ale yeah.
Marcy Bailey from Bailey's Fine Jewelry, here to share why Bailey's is consistently voted best place to buy your diamond. First off, our amazing selection of diamonds is unparalleled. We also have hundreds of the most coveted engagement ring styles to fit any budget. You can also utilize our vast selection of loose diamond inventory and custom workshop to create your dream ring. And if that's not enough, we also offer an unprecedented lifetime diamond guarantee. I invite you to come see for yourself. Visit us today in-store or at baileybox.com.
When you buy a new house, you might say,
"Shut the front door."
Winning!
No, seriously, shut the front door. We own this house now.
But you actually need to say,
"Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there."
That's right. The local State Farm agent is there to help you choose the coverage you need.
Welcome to my crib. No one says that anymore, but I don't care.
So just remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
Every season can be punishing for your roof. Mother Nature is a fierce opponent that doesn't take a break, which is why you need RoofWorks on your building maintenance team. Hi, this is Holly from RoofWorks. We specialize in keeping your commercial roof in great condition no matter what the issue may be. We offer roof inspections, roof repairs, and if needed, a full roof replacement. We help determine if there's a problem with your roof and advise you on the most cost-effective way to handle it. Contact us today at roofworks.com. That's roofworks.com.
Whether it's the future of college football or my love for the Ryder Cup, it's all found in the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast, brought to you by Coach Pete at Capital Financial Advisory Group. Visit us at capitalfinancialusa.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, North Carolina's injury lawyers.
Visit GotBryan.com.
That's GotBryan.com. This is Adam Gold.
I had no idea John is a Cubs fan, too.
Yeah, I think that's a prerequisite to being the head coach at Duke. I made one comment about the Cubs to Mike Krzyzewski, goes back a while ago, talked about the pitching staff, and he goes, yeah, but I don't trust Victor Zambrano. Like, what?
The Adam Gold Show.
Well, I really thought we were going to be getting ready for the finale of a 3-game series between the Mets and the Braves. But, of course, Helene and the opening act for Helene, whatever that's called, has certainly gotten in the way. Grant McCauley from the Diamond, Braves reporter for 92.9 The Game in Atlanta, joins us on the Adam Gold Show. You and I were texting yesterday going, why didn't they start this series on Monday? Apparently neither team wanted to. Did they want to play 2 games on Monday?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I don't think anybody wants to play 2 games this time of year especially, but it does feel like, and I would put this maybe less so on the teams and more so on MLB and the response that they have to things. Because if they're not busy trying to reimagine uniforms that don't need to be reimagined or slapping stickers on helmets for the postseason on both sides, mind you, so we don't miss it.
Right.
I don't really know what they're looking at up there, but the radar and the forecast in general for this, it said that there could be trouble. And as we found out, there was a lot of trouble. And now it's not just trying to figure out, how to get this series in, but the timing in which they're going to have to do it and the way that these wild cards, including having the Royals in the midst of this because they're the next team into Atlanta, it's all tangled up here in the final, 5 days of the regular season.
Yeah, we're not even sure that Kansas City is going to be able to get into town based on the weather forecast. And also, I'm not sure, have the Mets left yet?
That's a good question. I would assume that they probably were able to get out of town given the postponement before everything got crazy.
Right.
So hopefully they are able to get to Milwaukee and at least play their games. But, yeah, I don't know what this is going to look like over the course of the weekend because if you're already doing a doubleheader on Monday and you lose a couple of games against the Royals to the weather, which means you got to figure out a time to make those up because they matter to both the Braves and the Royals, I would not want to be the one trying to explain how we do that.
Yeah, the only particular in here that it might not matter at all to is Milwaukee, but you still have to think about the integrity of the schedule, so Milwaukee is going to be obligated to put at least a representative team on the field against the Mets. Now, it's possible that these games don't matter, and who knows if the Mets and the Braves take care of whatever business they have to take care of and the Diamondbacks capitulate to the Padres on the final weekend of the season, maybe the Mets and the Braves games don't have to be played. I don't know, but I don't anticipate that happening. Too many things have to line up for that to be the case. Could be Mets go to Milwaukee, play 3, fly to Atlanta, play a doubleheader, and then possibly have to fly to Los Angeles or San Diego, certainly back to Milwaukee. The Mets are certainly not in a great situation, but they could have controlled that a little bit by playing better on Tuesday night. So let's talk about at least the one game we saw, Grant. Grant McCauley covers the Braves for 92.9 The Game in Atlanta. Michael Harris certainly had his presence felt, but did the Mets look like a little bit of they were a little nervy to you?
I don't know if it was necessarily that, but I will say this, and we're a long way from the 2023 Braves that seemed like they could just line up and beat anybody until they got into the postseason and obviously weren't able to get past the Phillies again. But more so to the point for this series, and I think we had talked about this a little bit, the feeling of 2022 where it was all on the line and the Mets had a lot of control over the standings in the NL East over the course of that year. But eventually the Braves just kept chopping wood, as the old saying goes, and they swept the Mets in that series. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that was how it was going to play out. I think the Mets and they've been, and the record shows that one of the best teams in baseball since the start of June, and maybe it's just going to be a back-and-forth battle, which is more of what I expected when these two teams meet up. They were 5-5 coming in.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like anybody was going to roll over the other one. There was just going to be the back-and-forth that we've been accustomed to, but it all matters because of the tiebreaker scenario that's tied into this three-game series. But Game 1, I just felt like Spencer Schwellenbach was really in control, and that was a big factor for it. He has been an outstanding story for the Braves this year, the rookie right-hander who may have pitched his way into Atlanta's postseason plans. If they can make that happen, heck, he may have to make another start against the Mets to make the postseason happen. So there's a lot between these two clubs that's yet to be decided, but I didn't take away too much from Game 1 to feel that one or the other was either clearly better or overmatching. But the Braves have been, in recent memory, kind of the boogeyman for the New York Mets in terms of what they've been trying to accomplish.
Oh, there's so many boogeymen for the New York Mets. Grant McCauley joining us here on the Adam Gold Show from 92.9 The Game in Atlanta, also from the Diamond. You should check that out. Atlanta's had so many injury issues all year long, Michael Harris among them. But he can be such a catalyst for them and their offense. They're obviously not getting everybody back, but the fact that Harris is back, how much does that mean?
It means a ton, and the Braves have needed a catalyst at the top of the order basically for the last 4 months. I mean, Ronald Acuna Jr. was not lighting the world on fire in the first 2 months of the season in April and May. It was a slow start for him. But you just felt like it's in there, it's coming at some point. And I've always said this about Ronald. When he goes through that bad stretch, somebody's going to pay for that on the other side. But unfortunately, the injury took that out of the equation, and that really just destabilized the Braves lineup because there was no heir apparent. You're not getting another Ronald Acuna Jr. for too many clubs. That's just not going to happen no matter who you tap. But Michael Harris got hurt 2 weeks later and then missed the next 2 months. And then the entire outfield was a mess for Atlanta. So putting Harris back at the top of the order, I was a little bit skeptical. And the early results, they really didn't make you feel like there was too much of an answer right there. And Jorge Soler had tried it. Then they moved him out of the leadoff spot. He got hurt for a little while. I mean, everybody has had to deal with some sort of injury. But the inconsistency on top of that has been the story of the Braves offense this year. But this was the time where somebody had to step up. It's been Michael Harris. Last 13 games, batting well over 400. He's got 7 home runs. He's OPSing about 1,300.
Yeah.
He's in the midst of an 8-game hitting streak, the last 5 of which are multi-hit games, including another 3-hit game against the Mets the other night. He's just gotten hot at the right time. And he showed last year in the second half he was capable of this. And again, there's something to be said for timing. Getting Ozzie Albies back in the mix is also big. Soler's swinging it well. Marcelo Zuna getting back on track. And Matt Olson has been very good the last couple of months. All of a sudden, the Braves offense could feel like the Braves offense, but they needed somebody at the top, and Michael Harris is the guy who's kind of lighting the fire for the Braves now.
Yeah, but Michael Harris doesn't have a hit song like Jose Iglesias of the Mets. The other thing about the Braves that, to me, has been a constant, really, I don't know if all year long is the case, but certainly for most of it, is that they've gotten really good starting pitching. Yeah. And if we were supposed to see Chris Sale yesterday, my guess is he'll pitch against the Royals, so we might not see him Monday. Is there a chance that the rotation is reconfigured to set up, maybe better pitchers for that Mets doubleheader scheduled for Monday?
I don't think that you can do too much in that regard because you still have to respect the series against the Royals, who are also fighting for their postseason lives and are not one of those series where, and I can't really even say this with a straight face this year, it's not the Washington Nationals, but the Braves lost 8 out of 13 against the Nationals. So who's to say? You got to respect your opponent, and I think that's kind of the bigger picture. And if you want Chris Sale to be able to maximize his impact over the final 5 games of the regular season, if they play that doubleheader in full, I think you've got to have him go in that first one against the Royals, and then have him just gassed up and ready to go if you can get to the wild card. I really feel like that at this point is kind of what they've been pushed into. They may see it differently, but you got Max Fried, you got Charlie Morton, Spencer Schwellenbach can be back in it, and the wild card to me in all of this is Reynaldo Lopez is eligible to come off the injured list today. But how many innings can you ask of him coming off the IL, and then how much are you asking of your bullpen? And would you even think about bringing a minor league pitcher up, given that the season's been over for going on a week? They might have continued to throw, and I'm sure they have in the background, but, man, that's a pretty serious layoff at a time in which I don't know that you want to introduce too many variables to your equation, but they got to cover those innings, especially if they have to play the 2 games against the Mets.
Grant McCauley, as we say goodbye, at Grant McCauley on Twitter from the Diamond, Braves reporter for 92.9 The Game in Atlanta. I've been saying for quite some time that I actually think that both the Mets and the Braves will get in, and Arizona will fall out. But because they have 3 games left with the Padres, who it's still a long shot for the Padres to catch the Dodgers. Padres must win, I guess, tonight to get within 2 and then hope. But the Padres certainly are looking at that as the rabbit as they're kind of chasing down the stretch. But if San Diego does a job against Arizona, both the Mets and Braves have a good chance of getting in. But let's just have a little fun and say Monday comes down to who goes and who doesn't, and we are right where we are. Braves would have to win 2 because they would have won the season series if they win 2 out of 3. But if they split that doubleheader, they only get to within 1 of the Mets. That doesn't do it. How would that be received in Atlanta? Judging the Mets' recent history, would Atlanta go into that supremely confident that they would take 2? Because as a Mets fan, I'm thinking, I kind of think it's a 50-50 proposition.
Yeah, it probably is. I mean, it's tough to sweep a team in a 3-game series. I think it's tough to sweep a doubleheader, especially when you have the kind of pitching questions that either of these clubs could have, because everybody's going to have to weigh out, okay, well, we need to win here. We need to take these games. We also have to be ready to get on a plane and fly wherever it is next and have somebody that resembles a starter that gives us a good chance to go. So that's kind of in the mix. The fact that they are at Truist Park makes you feel like, that's a little bit of an advantage for the Braves in that regard, but there's so many things that could happen this weekend. If the Braves get swept, then this whole thing probably doesn't matter. If the Mets get swept and the Braves sweep, you still have to get in and play at least 1 game of that doubleheader, and those are just the 2 extreme ends of the spectrum. I don't know. This has been – I was just joking earlier today. I did a call-in on 92.9 The Game, and I said, look, I've got to come up with a Venn diagram that lets me know how everybody overlaps here so that I can figure out where in the world we might be come Monday. But I do expect them to play at least 1 game. But how exactly they get there and what it looks like between now and then, I think we just all need to buckle up.
I do wonder if the outcome of Game 1 settles everything, will they completely abandon Game 2? I would hope that they would. But Major League Baseball, you never know. Grant McCauley, 92.9 The Game, Braves reporter from the Diamond. I appreciate your time, sir. We will do it again during the playoffs.
You got to look forward to it. Thank you.
All right, we appreciate Grant McCauley's time. When we come back, we are going to have one-timers next hour. We will examine further Mack Brown in North Carolina as they head to Duke to take on the Blue Devils on Saturday afternoon, a 4 o'clock game in, I think, a pretty enormous game emotionally for UNC and for Mack Brown. This season could really unravel for them. All right, but Victoria will have one-timers, and so will I, because I have to be a part of that too. Next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
NC Medicaid is for people just like me.
Adults who don't have children.
People who serve.
People who do the heavy lifting.
Child care teachers. Full healthcare coverage at low or no cost.
Doctor's visits, emergency rooms, and prescriptions.
So if you applied before and didn't get it, apply again.
NC Medicaid covers more people than ever before.
Get full healthcare coverage at low cost, no monthly fees, and $4 max copays. NC Medicaid is for more people. See if you qualify at medicaid.nc.gov.
At North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, we believe that getting to know you is the best way to protect what you love most. We have friendly agents in every county to help you prepare for the unexpected. And when life doesn't go as planned, our award-winning claims team will be with you every step of the way. Find a local agent today at ncfbins.com. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
This year, FanDuel is giving you a chance to win big every Thursday night with FanDuel Squares. I am Adam Gold for America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel. This is the same Super Bowl Squares game you've always known, only this is better because your numbers aren't just randomly assigned. That never works for you anyway. You get to pick these yourself. You can pick as many as you like. You get to see the odds beforehand, and you can bet them live during the game as well. So what are you waiting for? FanDuel.com/AGS. Bet on Squares. FanDuel.com/AGS. Plus, if you're new to FanDuel, you can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you make your first $5 wager. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Since the pandemic, life expectancy in our state has declined, and Cone Health is pledging millions of dollars and countless man-hours to address health disparities in medically underserved areas of the state. We'll talk with Dr. Olujegede, who is helping to lead Cone Health's Catch 5 in 5 initiative. The North Carolina Healthcare Association and the North Carolina News Network invite you to learn more on this month's Conversations on the State of Healthcare, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast or by visiting nchealthcare.org.
The 2024 elections are just around the corner, and older voters are the nation's most active. The AARP North Carolina Voters Guide has information about upcoming election dates, registration deadlines, and voting options in North Carolina, such as voting by mail, early voting, or voting with a disability. Find the guide in the voters section at aarp.org/NC and listen each week to AARP Without Limits for important election news and much more. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Psst. Hello there. It's me, your internal clock. Yes, the one you sleep through on weekends. You've probably heard my TikToks, but I'm straight up sounding the bell now. It's almost time to start applying for college. That means you got transcripts to gather, letters of rec to request, and campus tours to schedule. But hey, we've got time, and we've got CFNC. CFNC.org can help us plan, apply, and pay for college. We got this, trust me. Just visit CFNC.org to help us stay on time.
Since the pandemic, life expectancy in our state has declined, and Cone Health is pledging millions of dollars and countless man-hours to address health disparities in medically underserved areas of the state. We'll talk with Dr. Olujegede, who is helping to lead Cone Health's Catch 5 in 5 initiative. The North Carolina Healthcare Association and the North Carolina News Network invite you to learn more on this month's Conversations on the State of Healthcare, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast or by visiting nchealthcare.org.
I spent a couple of minutes online to help pay for college.
If you're an 18-year-old man, go to sss.gov to register with the Selective Service System.
I registered because, hey, it's what you do.
Go to sss.gov and register today.
This is Adam Gold.
And I did have to use two screens at one point, or a couple of points, and I don't like it. I can't watch two games at the same time.
There's a lot going on.
I'm sorry. I'm incapable of doing that. Because there were times where, I forgot this other game was on in front of me.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
Greg Barnes from Inside Carolina will join us next hour. We'll talk about Duke and Carolina and the Mack Brown Bowl. Mack Brown is 5-0 in his second term as UNC head coach against Duke. They are not going to be suffering from a lack of focus for this because Mack Brown won't allow it. They weren't focused against JMU. Everybody could see that, but we'll talk about the heels, the state of the program, and whatnot with Greg Barnes from Inside Carolina coming up next hour. Right now, it is time for One-Timers.
Okay, well, we've got football tonight, and I'm excited for it. So we have the Cowboys and the Giants.
Yes.
And a lot of people are saying that this is a need to win for the Cowboys. So
yeah, I mean, honestly, if you want to be a playoff team, it's a need to abuse the Giants.
Exactly. I know. Well, and I was going to ask if this isn't a need-to-win game, what would their need-to-win game be? But I feel this is.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, look, it's early enough in the season that, I don't think Dallas can lose the game. But if they don't play well and lose the game, it's an indication that, you know what, they're just mid. And I said this before. I gave Jerry Jones way too much credit in the preseason when I said, hey, maybe Jerry's waiting because he's not going to pay CD Lamb or Tony Romo and simply let them walk and just reset. But no, he waited so that he would have to pay them both more, inexplicably, and did that. And now he's got Romo. Dak, I called him Romo before already. He's got Dak Prescott and CD Lamb, and I'm not sure that they have a great team.
Yeah.
But, hey, they have a quarterback and a wide receiver.
Well, there you go. That leads to the next one, looking at the Giants. I feel like the Panthers have helped them not get as much grief as they should be getting. So what do you think is the biggest issue for the Giants where everyone's just like, yeah, you should beat them? They're garbage.
Well, Daniel Jones isn't good.
There's that.
The Giants as a team are at best okay, but their team isn't good enough to overcome a bad quarterback. And as an NFL quarterback, Daniel Jones is kind of a bad one. I mean, he looks like it should be better, right? But he's just not.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, he's tall, so why isn't it just a shoo-in?
He is tall. You know, he should be playing the way Justin Fields is playing. Just say it that way.
Yeah.
He should be playing like a running quarterback because that's really what Daniel Jones is.
Exactly. Well, looking at other football teams around the league, out of all the 3-0 teams, which Chiefs, Bills, Steelers, Vikings, and Seahawks, which one is most likely to lose that undefeated status?
Oh, this week?
Mm-hmm.
I could say Minnesota at Green Bay. On the road, division opponent. Pittsburgh at Indy. Pittsburgh at Indy.
Okay.
It's my upset pick.
Yeah, I could see it. Anthony Richardson and company.
No, Anthony, he's not very good.
No.
Not yet.
No, not yet. But he's big. And this is probably last but not least. Which team in the MLB are you most surprised that's still in the running for playoff position? And why or why not? Is it the Tigers? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is. It's the Tigers. I mean, this is out of nowhere. In August, like I think the 11th of August, they were buried.
Yeah.
They traded their best pitcher, right? Like before the trade deadline. They gave up on the season, and then they got hot, and now they're in the playoffs. And they're going to be because Minnesota's falling apart. And Detroit's a problem. Detroit is a bona fide problem in the postseason. We think about hockey as anything can happen if you get into the playoffs in hockey. And yes, that is true. Baseball is that on steroids. Pardon the reference.
See what you did there.
When it comes to baseball. But baseball is more unpredictable because the game is unpredictable.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. You know that game everybody plays during the Super Bowl? You're at a big party, and there's a grid with 10 numbers going down and 10 numbers going across, and you always end up with a 5 and like an 8, and you never win? Well, it's called Squares, and FanDuel has Squares for Thursday Night Football, but this is better because you get a chance to control the numbers that you get. You choose the numbers, and you can choose as many as you like, and you can bet them live during the game. It's called FanDuel Squares for Thursday Night Football. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. Plus, if you're new to FanDuel, you can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 wager.
21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Martha was ready to switch to a career in IT.
There's always a need for IT specialists, especially with AI coming out and cybersecurity. It's practically recession-proof.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person. You're not just a number to them. I would recommend My Computer Career wholeheartedly to anyone.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
The North Carolina Courage is the only professional women's soccer club in the world to bring home gold, silver, and bronze medals this year. And you could win a season ticket package including 4 tickets to every home game in 2025. Visit WRAL.com and search Courage to enter.
Global Golf. Carolina's home to the largest selection of pre-owned golf gear is having a 2-day sidewalk sale this Friday and Saturday only. Get huge deals like drivers starting at $50, golf bags starting at $40, and golf shirts starting at $15. Get these special deals and more only at the Global Golf Retail Store, located on 7320 ACC Boulevard, North Raleigh. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6. Global Golf, home of the best deals in golf.
Homeowners, listen up. The Fed has taken action, lowering rates for the first time in years, and Loan Pronto has followed suit by lowering mortgage rates big time. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. That means this is the best chance in 2 years to do a cash-out refi and unlock all that equity at an amazing rate. Loan Pronto has fixed loans under 5% APR, the lowest in 2 years. You can get a fast refi and get $50, $75, even $100,000 in cash. Use it to pay off all your credit cards, personal loans, car loans. You'll end up with one payment each month, and for most homeowners, they save over $850 every month. And if you want to keep your original mortgage intact, ask about the Loan Pronto Express Equity Line of Credit. If you act now, you could even skip your next 2 house payments. Call now. Get your rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call 919-381-1760 or loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
To get people excited about Boost Mobile's new nationwide 5G network, we're offering unlimited talk, text, and data for $25 a month.
Forever.
Even if you have a baby.
Even if your baby has a baby.
Even if you grow old and wrinkly and you start repeating yourself.
Even if you start repeating yourself.
Even if you're on your deathbed and you need to make one last call.
Or text.
Right, or text. The long-lost son you abandoned at birth.
You'll still get unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month with Boost Mobile. Forever!
After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Unlimited plan.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Raleigh's injury lawyers.
Bounces his way into the end zone. Touchdown!
Visit GotBrian.com.
That's GotBrian.com. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
But one thing about Alabama is that they have not yet this season had what is a defensive weakness been able to be exposed, because they have freshmen and inexperienced players in the secondary. There have been wide receivers running open, and they have yet to play a quarterback that can hit those plays. And while you can argue, and I would agree with it, that Georgia's wide receivers have been underwhelming to this point, Carson Beck is an NFL talent that they have not faced. Alabama's defense has not been tested.
Alabama hosts Georgia today, or this weekend, Saturday. I looked at the weather forecast, and it does appear that the rain is going to miss the Tuscaloosa, central Alabama. If you're in far eastern Alabama, like where Auburn is, you're more in harm's way of all the rain that's coming. At least that's what it looked like on the radar. And if you look at the hurricane cone, that 3-day cone that they put out, it looks like Tuscaloosa is going to stay relatively dry. But who knows? right? It is weather. That's why Major League Baseball didn't do anything about Mets and Braves. All right, we got a lot of things to do. Greg Barnes from Inside Carolina is going to join us in about 20 minutes to talk about Mack Brown, where the Tar Heels go from last week, what the future is for that football program. And it is a big game, so we will also touch on Duke hosting North Carolina 4 o'clock on Saturday. Right now, news of the day times 2. So let's start with tonight's football game. I know it was the main focus in our one-timers segment. Jeff Saturday, former Tar Heel, by the way, on ESPN's all of their NFL shows. I think this might have even come from Get Up with Mike Greenberg on the Giants' chances of beating the Cowboys.
No chance. No chance. If the Cowboy, you just heard what Micah Parsons said. Something about you got to have some pride that you say this isn't going to happen to me anymore. And to your point, they beat them by 40. They should go in with the mindset, I'm going to beat you by 40 again, because that's the reality of what they should do. The matchup makes the fight, right? This fight, the Cowboys have struggled stopping the run. They should be able to stop the Giants. If you circle Neighbors, circle him. Don't let him get off. Don't let him have a big day. Make sure you keep him under wraps. Force Jones to beat you some other way, or with the run game.
So what did I say that the Giants should lean into? They should play Daniel Jones like he's Justin Fields. Now, they kind of do that anyway, but they should really lean into it. It ain't like you're keeping Daniel Jones beyond this season. Jeff Saturday giving the Giants no chance to win the game.
None.
Kind of agree.
I agree. Yeah.
Kind of agree. If Dallas is worth anything, Chris Carlin, who was sitting in for somebody, or he was a guest on Unsportsmanlike this morning on ESPN Radio on the Cowboys situation.
They have a stretch coming up that is absolutely brutal with Pittsburgh, Detroit, San Francisco, Atlanta, Philadelphia, Houston in a row. That is a rough stretch. If the Cowboys season is not going to get down the tank, it begins on Thursday night, and this really, come Friday, could turn ugly in Dallas if you're sitting at 1-3.
Oh, it could, but they're not going to lose to the Giants, I don't think. I mean, stranger things have happened.
Yeah, we did just watch the Bucks lose badly.
Well,
to the Broncos.
Bucks lost. Yeah, I still don't understand that. I don't think Dallas is losing to the Giants.
No.
But again, for me, it's about you're going to win the game because the Giants are bad, but you got to play well. The Cowboys have to play well.
Yeah, don't be sloppy.
It's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
It really is what they do. All right, the Panthers are a juggernaut. 1 in a row.
Yes, let's make a streak.
This version of Andy Dalton is the best quarterback on the planet. But the Panthers are not the greatest team in the world. And the Bengals, who are pretty good, we think, have yet to win. Andy Dalton, former mates, how dangerous is Cincinnati this week?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great team. I mean, their record doesn't show exactly who they are. Everybody knows what type of players they have over there and the success that they've had. So, I mean, you can't take them lightly. They, even their game on Monday, I mean, they're still scoring a lot of points, putting themselves, close in that game. It could have gone either direction, and that's been kind of the story of every game they've played so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I think it's indicative that Cincinnati's got problems winning, obviously, since they are 0-3. But at some point, somebody is going to pay for the fact that the Bengals are 0-3. It could be Carolina this week, but let's hope they defy logic one more time. Yes. Dalton on the win this past Sunday for an old guy.
Yeah, it meant a lot. Anytime you get a chance to be out there, especially at this point in my career, you're trying to enjoy every moment of it. And so for us to go and play the way we did last week, it was I mean, it's exactly how you wanted it to go. So it was fun to have my wife there, my parents there, had some friends there, and everybody got to enjoy that one. And so it was a cool game. It was one that I'll look back at my career. It'll be one that I'll definitely look back on.
Sounds like a rookie, right? Sounds like a rookie winning his first ever NFL
He probably
start.
felt like it when he was asked to be the starter the week before.
It's like, do you really, do I really want this? But it does show that a lot of the problems the Panthers have been having the first 2 weeks, and maybe the end of last season too, were really because the quarterback was not capable of playing. Now, that sounds odd because I really have not given up on Bryce Young as a starting quarterback in this league, but clearly he was the worst part of their offense through the first 2 games of the season. I don't think the head coach really did him any favors, which is the reason why I've been floating the notion that, I wouldn't be surprised if Dave Canales set out to prove that Bryce Young couldn't play as opposed to could. I mean, even if you moved Bryce Young now, you're not getting value for him. For somebody who was the first overall pick in the draft last year, you're not getting any value for him if you trade him. But if you feel like you want to move on from him just to have somebody take the salary, look, the Panthers are in a tough spot. To me, Young hasn't looked like a quarterback that can help you win, which is why it's going to be hard to trade him now. That's a project for an off-season deal, and maybe Carolina moves him in the offseason. All right, one more thing from Andy Dalton, because it is his old team this week. Extra emotion for you, sir?
No, it's obviously fun. A ton of memories for me in Cincinnati. And, there's still some coaches that are there that, that were there when I was there. So it's just going to be nice to kind of get to catch up with them and get to see them. I mean, when you see Cincy on the schedule, it's like I've had it every year except last year. So it's always fun to get the opportunity to go against them.
I'm sure it'll be an emotional one for Andy. He played very well for Cincinnati for 7 or 8 years, and then it was time to leave. He was no longer the same player. But again, it's kind of a joke, but he seems like a young 36 to me. So he's somebody obviously who's at an age when most, like 95% of football players who are playing at age 36 are either about to retire or should have earlier.
Yes.
It's very few 36-year-old players in the NFL that can still do it at a high level. And yes, the ones that have been able to do that are very high profile. Tom Brady.
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, Cousins is old too.
He's 36.
I'm not sure about a high level. Aaron Rodgers, who has played super really through the last 2 weeks. First week, they lost to San Francisco. He didn't play great, but the Jets also are not great. But the last 2 weeks, he's been pretty good. Mm-hmm. He was great on Thursday night against the Patriots. Really, really good against the Patriots on Thursday night. Anyway, for Dalton, you could sort of tell he's been energized by the whole thing, and I hope that continues against his old team on Sunday. All right, one thing I wanted to bring up because it's too funny not to. So basketball season began. And the games have not begun, but for college teams, they are now in practice mode. I've seen videos tweeted out by Duke. They're back on the practice floor. Wake is back on the practice floor. And John Rothstein, who is with CBS Sports, he got a chance to watch Wake Forest practice. And it's not so much about Wake Forest, but it's something that John Rothstein said that struck me as hysterical. Here's Rothstein singing the Deacon's praises.
John Rothstein with this Rothstein reaction after watching Wake Forest practice in Winston-Salem. The Demon Deacons look like they have the requisites to be the third best team in the ACC this season behind North Carolina and Duke. Everybody knows about All-American guard Hunter Salas. Everybody knows about the rim protection of Efton Reed. But Steve Forbes really added size and physicality to the power forward spot with Iowa State transfer Omaha Blue and Appalachian State transfer Trayvon Spillers. Louisville transfer.
Whoa. Where?
Excuse you?
I don't even know the name of the player who transferred.
Who?
Appalachian?
Just stop. It's
Now,
no.
In fairness, if you are not from here, Rusty just came into the studio. You guys both have app time.
We
right?
do.
In fairness, if you are not from here, most people refer to the mountains as Appalachia.
Right.
Except that we don't talk about the school as Appalachia. It's Appalachian State.
Yeah.
So
He threw an extra vowel in there too.
yeah, he did. He it's a drawl. It's a Rothstein drawl. So when I heard that, I went, "Ooh, what?
Excuse
Come
me?
on,
No.
come on." So yes, Appalachian.
Yeah. Wrong, sir. Very wrong.
Woof.
Yeah.
That's John Rothstein. I think Wake might be good. At least that's what John Rothstein had to say.
Yeah.
Rothstein. I don't know. I'm making it up now. But yeah, that was bad.
Barf.
That's
really bad.
That's just bad.
Really bad.
It made me drool. That's how bad it was. All right. Speaking of bad, that's not fair. Speaking of big games, Carolina at Duke. At the beginning of the season, we go back a week, we were talking about this game being a battle of 4-0 teams. And then James Madison put 70 on the board. Turnovers, other mistakes obviously conspired, but 70, 611 yards of offense. Bad. So just how important a game is this for Mack Brown? If Duke wins, and honestly, Duke is a favorite in the game, but it's very, very slight. It's actually, I think, just under a field goal now. If Duke were to win this game, the pressure on Mack Brown, not to turn it around, the pressure on Mack Brown to step down will become real. And it's probably already there based on the way Mack reacted to losing to James Madison. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the team. Carolina at Duke. Greg Barnes, Inside Carolina, will join us next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Keep pounding. Panther Talk. Panthers Playbook. The Paw Print. Follow your Carolina Panthers all season with us.
The snap. Raiders bring a twist. Screen pass. Right side Chuba. Gets a block. Has the 5. Amtrak's into the end zone for a Carolina touchdown. Football's fun again.
Your home for complete Carolina Panthers coverage. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Adam Gold here from my friend Coach Pete DeRuta, Capital Financial Advisory Group in Apex, and I'm going to help you right now plan for retirement. No. You're not coming to me for that. I can't plan what's going to happen at dinner time tonight. But I can get you to Coach Pete DeRuta, who is the best that I have ever seen at retirement planning. He is the authority. 888-843-0013 or text Adam to 600-700, and let's get you started with the total customized retirement plan for you, specifically tailored to your needs. And Coach Pete can do that. He does it for other people. It's worth $1,000. If you call today, you get it for free. It's worth it for free. He will help you get to retirement with everything you need to do what you want to do. He'll keep you ahead of inflation, ahead of the tax man. Coach Pete D'Arruda. 888-843-0013. Call today.
The clock is ticking. Diamonds Direct's ultimate offer is almost over. Until September 30th, you can get 5 years of 0% financing on any purchase. It's the perfect chance for worry-free shopping with no interest and monthly payments customized for you. And now open Sunday, September 29th. Take advantage of this amazing opportunity. From luxury timepieces to engagement rings and more. Don't wait. Spread your payments over 5 years with zero interest on approved credit. Only until September 30th. For details and more, visit DiamondsDirect.com.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first-time Nana moments.
Yeah, welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't-miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Connection, opportunity, possibility. It's what we all want. Spectrum has built a world where anything is possible, with products and services designed to work better together for a seamless connectivity experience. A connection to family and friends, a connection to education, and a connection to new opportunities. So there's no limit to how big we can dream. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
TD, Tutty, in for 6. Touchdowns matter more at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. We don't care how they score them. We want to bet on touchdowns, and DraftKings Sportsbook is delivering. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like picking a player to score a touchdown. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Download the Sportsbook app and use code TIMD, that's code TIMD with no spaces, for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-185-543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus. North Carolina only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball.
This is Adam Gold.
Maybe at some point after repeated losing, David Tepper will get out of the way.
Yeah, it's going to be on my Christmas list every year until it happens. So, there.
I wish I could give you that.
I wish
I could put a bow around that for you, Victoria.
Me too.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. A week ago right now, and tomorrow, it doesn't make a difference, as we were getting ready for the 4th week of the college football season, a lot of us, and maybe it was our mistake, obviously it was, were looking at last week's game as, all right, get through these, and Duke and Carolina could have a 4-0 matchup, and that would be great for this battle for the victory bell. Well, we know what happened. UNC allowed 70 points to JMU. And after the game, Mack Brown was all in his feels about, if I'm not the right guy, I'll step down, and players are now in the position of saying, no, you're our guy. We want you to, like, all of this. So Mack just got super emotional about it. Probably shouldn't have. But I get when you see James Madison, and not even a great version of James Madison, score 70, it will make you feel some type of way. And Mack clearly wore that on his sleeve. But I wondered last year if it was time for Mack Brown to step down. Not that it was time, but he just looked to me like a coach that was like, this is it. I've had Sam Howell. I've had Drake May. I'm going to go home, and I've left the program in good enough shape. I don't know. I don't know what the state of recruiting is. I don't know what the state of the locker room is. I do know this. North Carolina, through now 4 weeks, doesn't look like a good football team at all. They won the game against Minnesota, and I thought there were a lot of good signs. But if we go back to that game, 2 missed field goals by Minnesota allowed North Carolina to escape with a win. Again, I thought Carolina played well. I'm not knocking it. To me, that's the best game they've played. I don't count. I mean, what they won at home against Charlotte. They won against Central. The best game they played was the first one, and it was frankly the one they probably should have lost. And then whatever happened this past week. Greg Barnes, Inside Carolina. You're basically the person who invented that place. I appreciate your time, Greg. If you could paint a picture of the first 4 games of Mack Brown's 6th season, what would it look like?
It'd be like a roller coaster, but with things only going maybe in one direction. Would that be fair? I think you're exactly right. What you just said. That give them credit for going into Minnesota and winning. Although Minnesota was picked maybe 13th in the Big Ten preseason poll.
Yeah, but isn't that top half of that league? I kid.
Close.
Yeah.
And so, give them credit, but at the same time, that wasn't that impressive of a victory. And then Charlotte is just a mess right now.
Yeah.
And that game was a lot closer than it needed to be. A&T, or Central, was kind of the same situation. Carolina struggled early. And then Carolina just did not look prepared against James Madison
right
off the bat. I mean, there was a busted play, the very first offensive play that allowed JMU to get into a rhythm, and they really never looked back. And the big issue, yes, you can bang on the defense, as we've banged on the defense for going on 12 years now, but it wasn't just the defense. Like, yes, the offense racked up some yardage, but there were some bad turnovers there. I mean, 5 turnovers overall. Special teams was really a mess. So a lot of things kind of went wrong. Coming into the season, I think I picked them at 8-4. And one of the reasons I did is because if you look at what this schedule was, really the only good teams in the preseason appeared to be Florida State and NC State. And now looking at the schedule, it's like, wow, where are the really good teams? So because of that, I still think there's potential for this team to get to a bowl game. Clearly, they are not an ACC contender, and it's just kind of a mess right now.
Greg Barnes, Inside Carolina, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show at GS Barnes 23 on Twitter. And this game, though, because this is the way I've termed it. While I was surprised because I didn't think it was vintage JMU, I knew it was going to be difficult because I didn't think North Carolina offensively was that good. Now, maybe had Max Johnson stayed healthy, he would have become a more competent quarterback. He didn't look good before the injury at Minnesota. It didn't look like they had much of an offense then, but I allow for the fact that it is game one, even though he had been here through the spring and all of that. But first game, okay, we won't judge there. But it didn't certainly look good for 3 quarters. Connor Harrell just doesn't look like he can throw the ball down the field accurately. And I always thought at some point we'd get to Jacoby Criswell, who I'm not sure is all that great either. But if they can't have a competent offense, it's going to be tough on Amari and Hampton. And if Carolina can't control the game on the ground, I just don't know what they can do.
Correct. And one of the talking points in the offseason was, okay, Sam Howell's gone. Drake May's gone. What now? And a lot of the conversation from within the program was like, look, this is going to be the deepest team that Max had since he's been back. This is the opportunity this year to show that it's not just about the quarterback. It's about having a very good defense, maybe not elite, but at least pretty good, being solid on special teams, having a really good rushing attack with Amari and Hampton starring, and then have serviceable QB play. And it makes sense. That's what you should be able to do. And to your point, I don't know that we've seen that. And so I think Saturday is very important for a lot of different reasons. But I think Manny's done a pretty good job thus far with what Duke has been able to do. And I think that'll be a significant test for North Carolina. And that will tell us a lot about whether this team can get to a bowl game, can actually have some success or not. Because if they don't look good at all in Durham on Saturday, it's going to make for a long October and November.
Well, I do think that North Carolina's problem in many ways has been focus over the course of not just Mack Brown. I go back to Larry Fedora, where they gave up 70 points to East Carolina. I mean, there have been some big numbers hung when sometimes Tar Heel players start thinking about how good they are. And I'm not saying they were thinking about that because they played the game against Central. There wasn't somebody that just saw the final score and thought, oh, well, North Carolina dominated that game. They were in it. They knew it was 17-10 heading to the fourth quarter. So focus to me has been an issue for UNC in the past. But focus is never a problem for Mack Brown in this particular game. 5-0 against Duke since the return. And it's not like Duke has been old Duke when, Fred Goldsmith Duke. They've been good over the last several years. Maybe not what they were early in the David Cutcliffe era, but they have been good. So the fact that Mack is 5-0 against the Blue Devils is not insignificant. How big a game is this, do you believe, for Mack personally, not just because he wants to win the victory bell again, but just to get people off his back? Because I think right now there are a lot of people wondering how much longer he's going to be around.
Yeah, and especially in light of what happened in the post-game locker room after James Madison.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the critical point because they've circled the wagons. They kind of have their story of, hey, this is actually what happened, a little bit different than what was reported, which is fine. What matters is does the team are they all on the same page? And
Right.
Do they agree with everything with how it's moving forward? Because at the end of the day, that is all that matters. And so I think Saturday will go a long way in telling us. And there's some games, Adam, where you can say, you know what, we really just need to see them play hard and play well. It doesn't necessarily matter if they win or lose. Well, this certainly is not that game.
Mm-mm.
This is a game where they need to look good and they need to win. And that's the first step in kind of moving past all the circus aspects of these past couple of days. And that's what's so important for Mack, because if they don't look good and they lose, well, everything that's been drummed up is only going to start again, because now you're talking about, okay, you're 0-1 in conference play. You've lost 2 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're starting to play some teams that are actually playing better. What's going to happen? And there's no way to stem that tide without putting a solid performance on the field.
Yeah, and you alluded to it. The schedule looked pretty comfortable, but I think Duke has played pretty well. Duke is certainly an aggressive defense. I think they lead the league in tackles for loss. They have I think, a very big play passing game as well. Running game hasn't been as good as they would have liked. Pitt has somehow figured out a way to win a bunch of games against some pretty good teams. Georgia Tech, I think at the very least, is solid. Virginia has been better than advertised. By the time they get to Florida State and it's in Tallahassee, who knows what Florida State looks like? They could have already mailed it in completely, or they might be, back competing, even though it hasn't gone well for FSU. But so the schedule is not as comfortable as it looked at the beginning. Of course, if North Carolina plays to their capabilities, maybe it'll be fine. Let me ask you a couple of questions real quick about Mack, because I thought last year that he looked like a guy who was ready to call it a career, and he deserves all of the accolades for his career. He's one of the best. But I thought he was kind of done after last year. Were you surprised that he came back for another one?
I won't say that I was surprised. However, that was certainly bouncing around in my head. Is this going to be it? The fact that Drake May is gone now, there are legitimate question marks at quarterback moving forward. It's not as smooth sailing as maybe as it has been. And the fact that, he came back and did 5 years worth of work, got North Carolina through COVID, did a pretty good job rebuilding the talent base. He did a great job repairing connections with high school coaches, which is very important. He got the boosters back involved. So you're right. He's done a lot of fantastic stuff for the program. But you do have to ask the question, how long does he see himself coaching? And one of the interesting things is I think a lot of us assumed that when he was brought in, it would be that kind of stopgap deal where, hey, he comes in for 5 years, kind of balances things out, then you hand it off to somebody on the upswing. And there's really been no indication from anybody in the administration that was the plan. It was just, Mack's coming back, and we're going to see how this works out. And so I don't know that there is necessarily a plan in place for when he leaves. Yes, the fact that he blew up the way he did after the game on Saturday, even though you're 3-1,
right,
speaks to a lot of frustration. And I think that's kind of been building with how Carolina has failed to close really the last 3 years. And so I think it's a valid question of what's the plan here moving forward. How long does Mack want to do this? If things don't start moving on an upswing, or you just kind of playing things out to the end? And I think that's really where Bubba Cunningham needs to figure out what the plan is. Of course, he doesn't have to tell Dodge.
Right.
That's something important for them to have ironed out probably sooner than later.
It's funny. We talked to Bubba Cunningham a week ago yesterday or tomorrow, and we knew the game would be difficult, but I didn't feel like asking him, hey, what's the plan after Mack, even though I had kind of thought about it, but we didn't, we don't have 30 minutes to talk to Bubba Cunningham, so we were happy with the 15 that we got. Final question, and this speaks to the way Mack handled the end of the game, the post game, because it really did put a lot of pressure on players to have to deal with the emotion of their coaches' emotions. What's your sense of how the players have reacted to all this?
Well, what I can tell you is that the initial concern by a handful of players, at least, that we're aware of, was to the extent of what's going to happen next if Mack ultimately decides to resign, what happens to my scholarship for next year.
Mm-hmm.
So these are real serious questions that were being asked. And to the extent that we have reported since then that Bubba Cunningham had some meetings with players to figure out what their thoughts were and how to move forward best. So certainly there's concern. There is a feeling that, hey, everything's kind of been wrapped up, everybody's back on the same page, and we're ready to move forward. But that remains to be seen. That all sounds good. But when you hit adversity again, what's it put together with, right? I mean, is it just duct tape? Is there something significant there holding everything together? And that's what we have to see. And then the other thing I want to throw in here, Adam, Mack has really pushed NIL and how Carolina has been lacking in NIL, and that's been a big problem on the recruiting trail and all those things. And that's a valid point. However, when you get 70 hung on you by JMU, who had to rebuild their program, literally rebuild their program in January because they had 65 new players coming in and an entire new coaching staff, Mack could have had any single player he wanted on that JMU roster. And so when you start kind of harping on NIL being a part of the problem, and then you turn around and have that performance that you did on Saturday, there's a disconnect there. And I think that's probably the biggest thing is, it's not so much infrastructure if the guys aren't doing the basic stuff on the field of play to beat teams you should be beating. And so that's some of the complexity involved.
There's a lot going on. Look, I have no idea what's going to happen on Saturday at Wallace Wade Stadium, but if it doesn't turn out well for UNC, I think the temperature just goes up over at Kenan Stadium. But I don't think you take that. That's not tremendously insightful. That is just obvious. Greg Barnes, Inside Carolina at GSBarnes23 on Twitter. Thank you very much for your time. We'll talk again very soon. You're a legend.
All right. Well, thank you, Adam. I appreciate it.
All right, take care. Greg Barnes here on the Adam Gold Show. That's the thing that gets me about this is that there's so many positive things about Mack Brown's return. I know they've had good coaches before, but I mean, Mack is the guy that had them closest to being ready to compete at a national level in the modern era of college football. Then he went to Texas and he won a national championship, and he was great at Texas. And then it went the other way, and he hung on for however many years after winning the national championship at Texas. Good to have Vince Young on your team. And then they eventually kind of nudged him out the door. So Mack went and did TV. And when the Larry Fedora era was fizzling out, Mack, thanks to friendly boosters, he arrived on his white horse and he helped kind of restore order, credibility to the program. And as Greg pointed out, and I would have gotten there, the best thing that Mack Brown did wasn't just Sam Howell, Drake May. The best thing that Mack Brown did was reopen communication with high school football coaches in the state, because Larry Fedora was not all that interested in it, which is odd because, as I've mentioned, a couple of weeks ago, if you look at NFL rosters and where players come from, the 4 states that produce the most NFL players, Texas, California, Florida, Georgia. 5th is North Carolina. So there is talent in the state that Fedora was either unwilling or unable to connect with. Mack Brown, because of his past here and because of who he is and how he operates and he's just genuinely it seems, a nice, a kind person. He was able to reopen those relationships. So at the end of the day, Mack will be remembered as somebody who at least made whatever's next for UNC in terms of good football possible. In some ways, Mack Brown and former NC State coach Chuck Amato are pretty similar. Because I think Chuck is, as much as Dave Doran is a better coach than Chuck Amato, you could argue that Chuck Amato was more important to NC State football in the modern era of college football than any other coach, because Amato made a lot of the dreaming, whether it's realistic or not. He made a lot of the hopes and aspirations. He made them possible. Completely changed how NC State football is looked at, I think. But for just getting it back to UNC, they've got to figure out a way to play well and beat Duke, because if they don't, I think I said this before, if Duke wins that game, I don't think Mack Brown makes it to Halloween without an announcement. Doesn't mean he's not going to coach the rest of the season. But I think Mack will make an announcement that at the end of the year he'll step down. And I think that'll happen before Halloween if UNC doesn't go to Duke and win. I think it's wearing on him. He had said when he came back that he wasn't going to take the losses as hard. Yeah, that ended against JMU. Because that was full-blown, all over the place emotion. And I do think that it impacts your players when you do that. All right, when we come back, we will stretch, we will place bets. A couple of things coming up in the program. It is the 60th anniversary today. The 60th anniversary of the first fully integrated college football team to play a game in the South. 60 years ago today, it happened. It happened at Kenan Stadium, Michigan State at UNC. We'll talk about that monumental occurrence coming up next hour. Also, it's a Lee Sterling game day. How did you do, Victoria, against Lee with because I missed the last two Thursdays. How did you do against Lee in either of the pay-per-views or UFC bouts?
So we had UFC 306. We didn't have a card last weekend, so nothing last weekend. But the weekend before, I'm up 1.
Are you?
Lee picked Sean O'Malley to win. He did not. I picked
Valentina. He would do that.
I know. What are you doing? And I picked Valentina to win, and she did. So I'm up 1. Let's go.
Do we have a card this weekend?
We do.
All right. Well, so I'll get out of the way. But when we come back, we will stretch and place bets next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
ACT Construction Equipment is proud to be your certified local Takeuchi dealer in Charlotte, Winston-Salem, Asheville, Wilmington, and Myrtle Beach. Takeuchi has long been a world leader in the compact construction industry. Let ACT Construction Equipment help you find the right machine for the job. Our full line of excavators, track loaders, and attachments are designed for low maintenance and high productivity. Visit us online at actce.com to schedule a demo. ACT Construction Equipment, your authorized Takeuchi dealer.
NASCAR's Wild Card Weekend. It's a blur, just how it's supposed to be. Wide open weekend, wild card race. The ultimate NASCAR experience. Camping, concerts, tailgating, and an edge-of-your-seat thrill ride in NASCAR's playoffs. Think your driver's making the cut? Good luck. The Bank of America Roval 400, October 12th and 13th. It's a wide-open weekend and a wild card race. Get your tickets today at charlottemotorspeedway.com.
Since the pandemic, life expectancy in our state has declined, and Cone Health is pledging millions of dollars and countless man-hours to address health disparities in medically underserved areas of the state. We'll talk with Dr. Olujegede, who is helping to lead Cone Health's Catch 5 in 5 initiative. The North Carolina Healthcare Association and the North Carolina News Network invite you to learn more on this month's Conversations on the State of Healthcare, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast or by visiting nchealthcare.org.
The 2024 elections are just around the corner, and older voters are the nation's most active. The AARP North Carolina Voters Guide has information about upcoming election dates, registration deadlines, and voting options in North Carolina, such as voting by mail, early voting, or voting with a disability. Find the guide in the voters section at aarp.org/NC and listen each week to AARP Without Limits for important election news and much more. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcast.
Psst. Hello there. It's me, your internal clock. Yes, the one you sleep through on weekends. You've probably heard my TikToks, but I'm straight up sounding the bell now. It's almost time to start applying for college. That means you got transcripts to gather, letters of rec to request, and campus tours to schedule. But hey, we've got time, and we've got CFNC. CFNC.org can help us plan, apply, and pay for college. We got this, trust me. Just visit CFNC.org to help us stay on time.
You don't need a 4-year degree to have a rewarding career that makes a difference in people's lives every day. As a public power line worker, you'll build and maintain a locally owned and operated electric system to keep the lights on in your community. 4 months in a community college program provides the training you need, worker in public power. And being a local government employee in North Carolina comes with excellent benefits. To learn more about line worker and other public power careers, visit electricities.com.
NC Medicaid is for people just like me.
Adults who don't have children.
People who serve.
People who do the heavy lifting.
Child care teachers. Full healthcare coverage at low or no cost.
Doctor's visits, emergency rooms, and prescriptions.
So if you applied before and didn't get it, apply again.
NC Medicaid covers more people than ever before.
Get full healthcare coverage at low cost, no monthly fees, and $4 max copays. NC Medicaid is for more people. See if you qualify at medicaid.nc.gov.
since the pandemic, life expectancy in our state has declined, and Cone Health is pledging millions of dollars and countless man-hours to address health disparities in medically underserved areas of the state. We'll talk with Dr. Olujegede, who is helping to lead Cone Health's Catch 5 in 5 initiative. The North Carolina Healthcare Association and the North Carolina News Network invite you to learn more on this month's Conversations on the State of Healthcare, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast or by visiting nchealthcare.org.
This is Adam Gold.
He said he could talk about his golf game. He did say it wasn't great, and I said, hey, no judgment here. I'm a drive shacker and a putt-putter myself.
None of us are good. Even those of us that are good aren't really good.
Right, yeah.
We're just not.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. Could not be more excited so far for day one of the President's Cup, Victoria. I texted our friend Brad Fritch.
Oh, did you?
Right. So Brad, for those of you who do not know, is a native of Canada. Big Ottawa Senators fan.
Yes.
In fact, was at one point when he played, because he doesn't play professionally anymore. Frankly, I'm not even sure he plays recreationally either. But he was once sponsored by the Ottawa Senators. Brooke Henderson, not Brooks. Brooke Henderson is a player, I believe, who is a star on the LPGA Tour. She's sponsored by the Ottawa Senators.
Nice.
So, but Brad was the first to do it.
Okay.
Anyway, I texted him. I said, are you fired up for today? Because it's at Royal Montreal, which, for people who do not know, Montreal translated is Royal Mountain.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Did not know that.
Mount Royal.
Yeah, okay.
Right? That's what Montreal translated is Mount Royal. So Royal Montreal is Royal Mount Royal.
Fancy.
Anyway, it is right now matches, all 5 matches on the course. The United States leads 1-up in 3 and trails 1-up, trails 1 down. And the internationals are 1-up in 2. So you could cut the tension with a knife.
Right.
But anyway, I asked him, are you fired up? And he goes, is it on?
There's your answer.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Time to stretch.
He's probably more excited for hockey season than he is.
100%. Ottawa might halfway be decent.
They might.
Ottawa, Detroit. I want Buffalo to be better than they actually are. I'll put Buffalo in the category of these are 3 teams that believe they have enough talent to make a run at a playoff spot.
Yeah.
Right? I think Detroit is ahead of the other 2, but I wouldn't be surprised if Ottawa also challenged. I've been waiting for this to happen. I think there's a lot of talent on both of those rosters.
Yeah, except he hates coming here to watch the Senators play the Canes because they beat them. But yeah, anyways, I'm a fan of that. So you might also be a fan of tailgates. There was a recent poll.
Who isn't?
I thought this was funny because I know so many people who fit into this category. A new poll said about 70% of sports fans say they look forward to the tailgating season just as much as they do a holiday season, which it is
Makes sense.
a holiday. So, yeah. And about a quarter of them say they'll attend a tailgate without even having tickets.
I know people who actually go to state tailgates and then go home and watch the game.
Yes, exactly. And that's exactly what I was thinking of. But I've been there too. NC State, they know how to put on a tailgate, so you can get carried away. And also, about a quarter of them say that they've attended a tailgate, had tickets, but then they're like, no, tailgate's too good, so I'm just going to stay here.
Watch it on TV.
Right. A lot of people will have their TVs. And this also said what they think a perfect tailgate is. So maybe this is your perfect tailgate. They say it starts about 2 hours before the game. Yeah. Ends about
Wait, 2 hours?
Yeah. Yes.
That's it?
This is what it says. According to Americans, 2 hours before the game. Ends about an hour after the game's over.
Oh, this is not the perfect tailgate. You've already been eliminated.
Has 12 people, very specific, has 12 12. I guess you need that many to play a good game of like cornhole or something. I don't know. Along with food, snacks, booze, and team swag. So, I don't know. If you want to put on the perfect tailgate, this is what they say.
Didn't sound like the perfect tailgate to me.
This is what they say it is. So, yeah, who knows? This might be a perfect movie. No, it's not going to be a perfect movie, but Ben Stiller is at it again, making sort of kind of sport movies. So, 20 years ago, he starred in Dodgeball. A lot of people might remember that. Well, now he is going to make a new movie about pickleball. So I know Justin Williams, the former Cane's, going to be all for this, I'm sure. It's called The Dink, and it's going to be about washed up pro tennis players who become pickleball players to save a club in crisis.
To save a club in crisis.
Yes. And Ben
Stiller. A movie we did not need.
We did not need, but we are getting anyway. And it's going to have Ben Stiller probably doing awkward things in there. And there's actually going to be a real tennis star in it, Andy Roddick. So.
Oh, good.
I know. So if you're a fan, you have that.
Is his wife in it? Is Brooklyn Decker in it as well?
I don't know. It's a good question. I have no idea. But we'll see. And last but not least, I don't know if it'll be on Disney Plus, but maybe that movie will reach Disney Plus. And if it does, you're going to have to pay more for it because they're getting more expensive. What isn't getting more expensive? They said they're cracking down on people who abuse the privilege of sharing passwords now.
Right.
So just be cognizant of this. If you are using someone else's information, they're going to bust you. So, so they are cracking down at the end of this month, as well as making things more expensive. So there you go. Thanks, Disney. But like they don't print money already. But maybe we could print some money with our bets.
Place your bets. Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
I've done well. I've had the...
are you coming back?
The last 3 days, or last 2 days, we've done Tigers to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday we did Tigers to win minus a run and a half. They won. It's like 7-1.
Mm-hmm.
Tigers never lose.
Yeah.
So we might go back to the Tigers. Actually, the game is already ongoing. We might do it anyway.
Yeah.
But I think Tampa leads 2-0. All right, maybe I'll do it just for giggles.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, mine's all football. Tonight's football, Cowboys and Giants. Give me Singletary to be an anytime touchdown scorer. He's plus 105, but it's likely.
All right. I'll do the football game first. Giants are getting 5.5 points at home to the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. Cowboys should blow them out, right?
They should.
They won't. Give me the Giants plus 5.5. Over 45.5 is plus 262.
Okay, my second one. I'm going to take a little prop bet. So the Giants, I'm going to say they're going to get under 19.5 total points. That's only plus 102, but I don't know if they'll be able to score a bunch. We'll see. Taking the under.
All right, we'll start with we're going to do Major League Baseball. No Mets, Braves tonight. So Rays lead the Tigers 2-0, bottom 3. Detroit's not going to lose again. So give me the Tigers to win plus 220.
Oh, really?
Right now, looking at FanDuel. So plus 220. I might jump on that. Get on my app here.
Yeah.
Plus 220, Tigers.
Nice. Well, my last one with the football. Cowboys and Giants. Give me the Cowboys because I feel like they're in the same situation the Ravens were when they played the Cowboys. Cowboys got to win this one. So give me the Cowboys to win, and I'm going with the under 45.5. That's plus 160.
All right, so the Chicago White Sox have lost 120 games. Winning streak. Mm-hmm. The Mets have lost, the 1962 Mets lost more games than any team in the history of baseball. They lost 120. The White Sox are staving off, eclipsing the Mets for the worst team ever. They do it again today. Plus 114, White Sox to win it outright. Under 7.5, we'll have some fun, plus 265. There you go. Go White Sox. I want the Mets to have that to keep that record. I want them to keep that record. Wall of Sound is next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And let's get started on Week 4. Think about it right now because Thursday's not that far away. $200 in bonus bets guaranteed to new customers when you make your first $5 wager. Cowboys at Giants. Boy, does Dallas need a win. And they need a win convincingly. Giants aren't that good. CD Lamb's going to have a big day. Dak Prescott should have a big day. Who knows? Dallas needs the win. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. FanDuel is an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
It's bow time. It's not just football season. It's tailgate season, and that includes every kind of football, whether it's got goalkeepers or goalposts. The kick is good! Because it doesn't matter where or how you tailgate. When you've got crispy chicken and fluffy buttermilk biscuits from Bojangles, your tailgate is better than great, it's legendary. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box with boldly seasoned chicken, fixins, biscuits, and legendary iced tea today. It's bow time.
Planning a tailgate? Then it's bow time. Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go. It's bow time.
Donald Trump's back, and he's out for control.
I would have every right to go after them.
Complete control.
I will wield that power very aggressively.
And he has a plan to get it.
Detailed plans for exactly what our movement will do.
It's called Project 2025, a 922-page blueprint to make Donald Trump the most powerful president ever, overhauling the Department of Justice, giving Trump the unchecked power to seek vengeance, eliminating the Department of Education, and defunding K-12 schools, requiring the government to monitor women's pregnancies, and Trump has also proposed severe cuts to Medicare and Social Security. Those are Donald Trump's plans.
Well, revenge does take time, I will say that. And sometimes revenge can be justified.
He'll take control, we'll pay the price.
I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message. Paid for by Harris for President.
Van, I found more Walk for Hope signs.
Great, Shelley, let's go. More people can join us for the Walk Run Festival with music by Liquid Pleasure, all at the Angus Barn on Sunday, October 13th. Go to walkforhope.com to sign up now.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first-time Nana moments.
Welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't-miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart failure, risk of landing in the hospital from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, North Carolina's injury lawyers.
Visit GotBryan.com.
That's GotBryan.com. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Their defense can't seem to get a stop. And yes, Jaden Daniels is really good.
Yeah.
He's a rookie. He shouldn't have been able to just absolutely light up this Bengals defense in primetime. Granted, they're dealing with a lot of injuries on the defensive line, on the offensive line, but I am more concerned about the Bengals now than I was after their Week 1 loss, knowing that they are a team that is slow to get started most seasons, but it lingering like this for 3 weeks in the AFC North, too, that's a hard division to try to dig yourself out of.
Yes, especially when the Steelers are 3-0. Of course, the Ravens are just 1-2. How big a game? First of all, Baltimore coming off the win at Dallas. They got out to a big lead and then kind of hung on. And now they've got the Buffalo Bills in town. And if you're Baltimore, because the Steelers, even though my answer to one of your one-timer questions was that the Steelers might lose or would lose in Indianapolis, they're favored in the game.
Right.
So if they win and the Ravens fall to 1-3, even if the Bengals are 1-3, you're 3 games out in a 17-game season. Now, I still don't believe the Steelers are all that good. But if you're 4-0, you have to almost underachieve to not win 11.
Right.
And then think about what has to happen for Baltimore, for Cincinnati, the 2 really good teams in that division, to get to 11 wins. So at 1-3, and that's assuming the Bengals can beat the juggernaut Carolina Panthers.
I know, it is scary. It is scary.
Assuming that, the Baltimore and Cincinnati would need to win 10 of their last 13 games. Again, not insurmountable, because 17 games does make it seem like a much longer season. But if you're 1-3 now, there's a lot harder games coming up for both Cincinnati and Baltimore. Big weeks for both. Bengals theoretically have an easier time, but they're on the road, and the Ravens are home against the Buffalo Bills. All right, coming in about 15 minutes, we will remember the first fully integrated college football team to play a game in the South. Tom Shanahan will join us, and we'll talk to somebody who played in that game as well. The 60th anniversary of that, 60 years ago. But first, Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
All right, so NC State has Northern Illinois this week. It is a homecoming, or if Dave Doran came from Northern Illinois, he's been here a long time, so it's not like any of the players he recruited, so it's a completely different program. But Northern Illinois a few weeks ago beat Notre Dame, and NC State has beaten only Louisiana Tech and Western Carolina, and it hasn't necessarily been great. We know the 2 blowouts. All right, one of the things that we thought would be different about State this year was they would have a quality running game. Hasn't really materialized just yet, but Doran says it's getting better.
It went from like 2 yards to now 4.8 yards in a game. We were 4.1 the week before. Our goal is to be over 4 yards a carry. I think all of our backs are running the ball well. I do. And they're each different in how they're hitting the holes. It's a change up for guys defending the holes. But Kendrick, Jordan, obviously in Hollywood, they all had explosive runs in the games. They're running through contact. They're doing good things. It's a nice rotation that Coach Goebel has right now.
All right, now, a change at quarterback brought on by an injury to Grayson McCall during the game against Louisiana Tech. C.J. Bailey came in after a shaky start, was great the rest of the way against Tech. It didn't go so well against Tennessee. But Grayson McCall is still there. And for at least the foreseeable future, we're going to see C.J. Bailey. How is Grayson McCall helping out the rookie?
He's really good. He's a good teammate. C.J. looks up to Grayson. He's a really good mentor to him. He's great at processing the game plan, teaching C.J. what he should be doing, and he's getting better. So hopefully, Grayson's return will be sooner than later. But, yeah, he's done a great job in what he's allowed to do right now.
All right, now, speaking of homecomings, again, Dave Doran coached at Northern Illinois before coming here. Andy Dalton, for the first time, will go, I don't know if actually, I probably should look it up, but is facing his former team. and he will be the starting quarterback and is the starting quarterback right now for the Carolina Panthers. What will it be like to face the Bengals?
It's obviously fun. A ton of memories for me in Cincinnati, and there's still some coaches that are there that that were there when I was there. So it's just going to be nice to kind of get to catch up with them and get to see them. So I mean, when you see Cincy on the schedule, it's like I've had it every year except last year. So it's always fun to get the opportunity to go against them.
But again, Andy Dalton hasn't played a ton of football last few years, so this will be a different animal for him. And look, I've been asked so many times, I do believe that Andy Dalton will be the quarterback for the remainder of the season unless he's either injured or if he stinks. Because if he stinks, then you might as well go back to Bryce. But I don't foresee him stinking, even if he's not great. I think what the Panthers need at this point is competency. Otherwise, you do run the risk of losing the rest of the roster. All right, now, Dalton will recognize this much about the Bengals. Even though could have won game one and probably could have won the last one, he knows that the Bengals are not your normal 0-3 team, and he knows that they will be a tough out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great team. I mean, their record doesn't show exactly who they are. Everybody knows what type of players they have over there and the success that they've had. So, I mean, you can't take them lightly. They, even their game on Monday, I mean, they're still scoring a lot of points, putting themselves, close in that game. It could have gone either direction, and that's been kind of the story of every game they've played so far.
Again, 100% agree. The Bengals have played better. I mean, look, I didn't see the game against the Patriots to open the year. The fact that the Bengals lost at home to obviously bad football team speaks to whatever Cincinnati's issues are. You were given a gift by the NFL. Here is a week one victory, and you couldn't do it. They were giving you a win. The Patriots are one of the 2 or 3 worst teams in the league. By the way, their offensive line is dead last, apparently, in pass blocking. Dead last, which speaks to one of the reasons we said Drake May should not play. If you care about Drake May and his future, don't make him play, which is what I wish the Panthers had done with Bryce Young last year. Anyway, yes. Giants are bad too. I don't know where they rank on that list. Dallas is in New York tonight. Jeff Saturday from ESPN on, hey, look, you're home. Thursday night. What chance do the Giants have? Come on.
No chance.
No chance.
If the Cowboy, you just heard what Micah Parsons said. Something about you got to have some pride that you say this isn't going to happen to me anymore. And to your point, they beat them by 40. They should go in with the mindset, I'm going to beat you by 40 again, because that's the reality of what they should do. The matchup makes the fight, right? This fight, the Cowboys have struggled stopping the run. They should be able to stop the Giants. If you circle Neighbors, circle him. Don't let him get off. Don't let him have a big day. Make sure you keep him under wraps. Force Jones to beat you some other way or with the run game.
It does seem easy, right? Because Daniel Jones isn't all that great and the Giants are not all that great. But, man, when you're the Dallas Cowboys, everything seems a little bit more difficult. One final thing, and this is just funny. John Rothstein, CBS, college basketball maven, visited Wake Forest practice. And by the way, ACC teams are back practicing. I've seen videos tweeted out by UNC, by Duke, a bunch of stuff at NC State. Everybody's excited about the season. John Rothstein says that he thinks Wake is good.
John Rothstein with this Rothstein reaction after watching Wake Forest practice in Winston-Salem. The Demon Deacons look like they have the requisites to be the third best team in the ACC this season behind North Carolina and Duke. Everybody knows about All-American guard Hunter Salas. Everybody knows about the rim protection of Efton Reed. But Steve Forbes really added size and physicality to the power forward spot with Iowa State transfer Omaha Blue and Appalachian State transfer Trayvon Spillers. Louisville transfer Tylor Johnson.
At least he said Louisville, right? Sort of. He didn't say it's not Louisville. It's Louisville.
What?
Appalachian?
I don't know where that's at.
What is that?
I got to find that on the
What
map.
is Appalachian? That's like saying it's Kerr drug. Is that even a thing anymore? I don't think they have Kerr drugs
No,
anymore.
I don't know if it's.
It's
I don't
car.
think
It's
it
pronounced
is.
car. I get it. It doesn't look like car. It looks like Kerr, and I have fought it for years. But it's car.
Yeah.
Appalachian.
Tell me you're not from North Carolina without telling me you're not from North Carolina.
Come on, John. You've been in this state before. You got to do better than that.
Yeah.
All right. When we come back, 60th anniversary of the first fully integrated college football team playing a game in the South. It was at Kenan Stadium. We will talk to Tom Shanahan, who has written about it, and somebody who played in it. Next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Football is on the menu tonight.
Showtime, prime time.
And we're delivering some fresh NFC action.
Here we go. Woo!
It's Dallas and the New York Giants.
Y'all know what time it is, huh?
Pregame starts at 7:30.
Hey, together, baby. We just do this one play at a time.
The NFL on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wake Med.
We came here for one thing, to win.
99.9 The Fan, the Triangle sports leader.
Adam Gold here from my friend Gordon Miller. Miller Lending on Kildare Farm Road in Cary since 1996. And Gordon came up with an idea in 1987 when he lived in another city that he would start a company touting a no closing cost mortgage. That's right, somebody had to do it because Gordon figured out a long time ago that as rates dropped, people would want to refinance. And if they had paid closing costs, it would be counterproductive financially to do so because every time they refinanced, they'd have to fork over closing cost money. And again, that's thousands of dollars. And if we're trying to save money, there's no sense in paying, let's just say $5,000 to save $200 a month, especially when the rates are going to continue to drop as they are now. So if you just paid fees because somebody told you that the rates are not going lower, sorry, but you're out those thousands of dollars. Miller Lending on Kildare Farm Road in Cary since 1996. No closing cost, you save thousands. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 2502146.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds, which could be life-changing. I mean, you could put that money towards concert tickets for your daughter to see that singer who sings about painful breakups. And one song will inspire your little beauty to break up with that beast she's dating, Brian. Instead, she'll date someone who's nice and worthy of her love, not someone who addresses you and your spouse as, bro. And it's all because you could save money switching at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Our state's future begins with our students. That's why the North Carolina Education Lottery has contributed over $10 billion to education. Through scholarships, school construction, support staff, and pre-K programs, lottery dollars move our state forward, helping students become the best versions of themselves. Visit movingncstudentsforward.com and share how your student or school community has benefited for a chance to earn $2,000 for your story. Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline 877-718-5543.
Global Golf, Carolina's home to the largest selection of pre-owned golf gear, is having a 2-day sidewalk sale this Friday and Saturday only. Get huge deals like drivers starting at $50, golf bags starting at $40, and golf shirts starting at $15. Get these special deals and more only at the Global Golf Retail Store, located on 7320 ACC Boulevard, North Raleigh. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6. Global Golf, home of the best deals in golf.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go.
The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Adam Gold here for my friends at CertaPro Painters, and I call them my friends because I have used them before, and let me tell you, they know how important your home is to you. They made that clear to me. That's why they're focused on helping you bring a fresh color to your home, and they're great in even the hard-to-reach places we have vaulted ceilings. Each CertaPro Painters business is also independently owned and operated. In other words, they live right here in our community. You can schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
This is Adam Gold.
While I'm watching Colombia-Uruguay, not only the end of that match, but the fight in the stands after it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Heard it got spicy.
That was the most excited fans we have seen in 5 years at Bank of America Stadium. Man, look at all the happy people at Bank of America.
Just took the other kind of football.
Yeah, there you go. More of that.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. 60 years ago today, the sport of college football in the South welcomed its first fully integrated college football team, Michigan State, who they played at North Carolina at Kenan Stadium. It's the first time a fully integrated college football team had ever played in the state of North Carolina. And we spend a lot of time honoring Jackie Robinson or the Texas Western, which is now UTEP, in 1966 for the first time we saw 5 black starters play in a national championship game. And interestingly enough, beat the University of Kentucky. And Adolph Rupp had a reputation, if you will, for not being a fan of integration. So 60 years ago, we don't spend a lot of time talking about the integration of the sport of college football. But the reality is that it is a big deal. And we're going to talk to Tom Shanahan here in a second, but somebody who played in that football game, Clinton Jones, who's a college football Hall of Famer, scored the first touchdown in that ever by a black player in the state of North Carolina. And he joins us on the Adam Gold Show. Tom Shanahan will join us in a second. But let me just start with you, Mr. Jones, and I appreciate your time.
You're welcome, Adam. It's my honor.
What was that whole experience like for you and your teammates to come into the South and deal with everything you had to deal with and perform?
Well, you have to remember it was 60 years ago, and I had totally forgotten about that. I didn't realize that I scored the first touchdown. I really didn't. But I think at that time there might have been some controversy about the players from the South inviting their families to the game, which they did not. But everything went well. We lost the game. But what I remember most, Adam, is they had this amazing big fullback. I think his name was Willard.
Yeah.
He was great. That's what I remember most about that game.
I know you and Tom, and we're gonna hook up with Tom here in a second. You and Tom were at Kenan Stadium not that long ago and kind of relived the moment. What was it like to be back?
I'll tell you, it was fantastic. And it was the beginning of a journey that we had no idea that things would develop as they did since that time, Adam. I was going to North Carolina to Durham. My wife and I already made reservations to visit our two daughters and their families there in Durham. And so I had an opportunity from the NFL to do a body and brain study examination. And I had done one 5 years ago, and so I had an opportunity to actually go there and have it paid for. So that's how I wound up going to UNC Chapel Hill. And I told Tom, let him know that I was going there, and he arranged everything. And since that time, amazing things has happened, including the chancellor is now being the president of Michigan State University, where I went.
Right.
And I'll be going there this evening, participating in his investor show this coming Sunday, honoring him there.
It's Clinton Jones.
I developed a real connection to UNC.
Well, I'm glad you have. Clinton Jones, a college football Hall of Famer and a guy who scored the first touchdown, fully integrated team, first time ever in the South. Tom Shanahan is now with us, has written many books, two of which we've already talked about on this program. Ray of Light, Jimmy Ray, Duffy Daugherty, and the Integration of College Football, which came out on 4, 5, 6 years ago. About the 65-66 Spartans and the right thing to do, the pioneers of college football's integration in the 60s. A bigger picture question for you, Tom. Why does this issue resonate so much with you? Is it because we pay so much attention to the Jackie Robinsons of the world or the Don Haskins and Texas Westerns of the world, and that we haven't spent a lot of time on this particular issue?
Yeah, that's exactly it. The sports media failed to document these events as they were taking place. So it's largely an untold story. But not only is this game at North Carolina a proud moment in the college football integration history story, the 1964 season is a proud moment for the state of North Carolina. In 1964, you had Bob Grant going from Jacksonville, North Carolina, and Butch Henry from Greensboro to Wake Forest. Wake Forest was the first major conference Southern school to desegregate. And so then in 1964, you had this game at Chapel Hill with Michigan State and North Carolina. And what's significant about that game is nothing happened. Sounds like a Seinfeld episode. but that's very important because just a year earlier, and you know the Maryland history with Darrell Hill as the first black. He was abused and cheap-shotted and taunted by the fans when they went to Clemson in South Carolina. And that was in 1963. And then, now, Darrell was a senior transfer, so Maryland's story is not as important as Wake Forest. But back to my point about the North Carolina game, in addition to Clinton Jones making his varsity debut on his way to the College Football Hall of Fame, George Webster from Anderson, South Carolina, made his varsity debut. Jim Summers, a starting defensive back from South Carolina, he made his varsity debut. But they told their parents to stay home. A black person didn't go into this environment. They were afraid of what would happen to them is what happened to Darrell Hill. Darrell Hill's parent, his mother, came down to the game at Clemson, and they would not let her in the stadium. So George Webster and Jim Summers, imagine that. You're so proud of yourself. You're making your varsity debut, in a neighboring state, and you have to tell your parents to stay home. So that is what's significant, is they feared something would happen, but nothing did. The players did not, North Carolina, a segregated all-white team, they did not cheap shot the Spartans. They did not taunt them with the N-word. And when I spoke to Ken Willard about this, Ken Willard was the star on those North Carolina teams, played for a long time in the 49ers. And Ken Willard's feeling was, he said to me when I first talked to him, he said, Tom, I honestly don't remember anyone on our campus talking about it or our team. And he was kind of a defensive tone. And I said, no, Ken, the Michigan State players told me they had no problem. And then Ken told me he thought the reason for that was because North Carolina had played at Michigan State in '63, and they had played a couple of other games against integrated teams in the North. So it wasn't new to them. And the whole story on that, as Clint can tell you, is we all have to get to know each other. If we get to know each other, we resolve a lot of our conflicts and racial prejudices.
So I want to follow that up, but I want to Clinton, if you could just respond to kind of follow up on what Tom said. I have another question I want to ask you before we're almost running out of time here. But I just want you to back up what Tom had to say there.
Well, this is absolutely true. This has been kind of like an urban legend, but the story needs to be told and widely spread. It needs to be known all throughout the nation. I just got back from Minnesota for South Carolina's Bobby Bryant being inducted to the Viking Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to a lot of guys that don't know about this history, and they should know. And it's important, especially the younger generation. They need to know this. This story is as big as Rosa Parks and any other civil rights historical event that helped get rid of segregation and bring the country together. And just think how relevant it is right now in the times, right here today, how relevant this is.
All right, I got one more question for you, Clinton. I feel like we wasted Tom Shanahan's time here. Did you and some of your teammates, Clinton, recognize the significance of the moment in real time, or is it just now looking back on it?
Just now looking back on it. We weren't aware of setting history or anything, of a historical moment. We were not. We were concentrating on football and on winning.
It's just like regular college football today.
Yes.
They don't
Exactly.
know. They don't know. It's too bad you guys didn't have NIL back in the day. Clinton Jones, a college football Hall of Famer, and Tom Shanahan, a humanitarian Hall of Famer and a great author. And I appreciate, Tom, you bringing the 60th anniversary of this event to my attention. We'll talk again very soon. Clinton, thank you very much for your time. I know you're based out on the West Coast, and hopefully we'll get a chance to meet one day. But I appreciate your time. Tom, take care. I'll talk to you soon.
Great. Thanks very much, Adam.
Thank you, Adam.
You got it. 60 years ago today. That's another, I think, maybe a feather in the University of North Carolina's cap. That they're very much involved when, Dean Smith was very pro integration of their basketball program. Cool deal. All right, when we come back, it's Thursday. It's the start of week 5 in the NFL. Is it week 5? Week 4. It's 5 in college football, 4 in the National Football League. We've got the 5 best and the 5 worst. And then Lee Sterling will join us. We'll find out how his record's going. I've missed the last 2. And I do believe we are going to throw Lee and Victoria in the octagon, and they can go at it. Next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Week 4 is here of the NFL, and you can start with a chance to win big on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And I am Adam Gold, and new to FanDuel, you get started $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you make your first $5 wager. Don't even have to win it, just have to make it. You can get yourself a single-game parlay thinking ahead to Thursday Night Football, Cowboys and Giants. Giants aren't good. Cowboys, well, we're not really sure, are we? FanDuel.com/AGS. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel. FanDuel.com/AGS. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
I am Bruno Hinojosa and I live in Asheville. I work in construction and I just enrolled in NC Medicaid. I went to their website. Applied and got covered. Doctor visits, yearly checkups, and even emergency care if I need it. Being a business owner can be stressful at times, but knowing that I got covered, it just takes weight off my shoulders. And I can get the care that I need when I need it at low or no cost. And it's one less thing I need to worry about now.
NC Medicaid is for more people. See if you qualify at medicaid.nc.gov.
NASCAR's Wild Card Weekend. It's a blur, just how it's supposed to be. Wide open weekend, Wild Card Race. The ultimate NASCAR experience. Camping, concerts, tailgating, and an edge-of-your-seat thrill ride in NASCAR's playoffs. Think your driver's making the cut? Good luck. The Bank of America Roval 400, October 12th and 13th. It's a wide-open weekend and a wild card race. Get your tickets today at charlottemotorspeedway.com.
Since the pandemic, life expectancy in our state has declined, and Cone Health is pledging millions of dollars and countless man-hours to address health disparities in medically underserved areas of the state. We'll talk with Dr. Olujegede, who is helping to lead Cone Health's Catch 5 in 5 initiative. The North Carolina Healthcare Association and the North Carolina News Network invite you to learn more on this month's Conversations on the State of Healthcare, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast or by visiting nchealthcare.org.
The 2024 elections are just around the corner, and older voters are the nation's most active. The AARP North Carolina Voters Guide has information about upcoming election dates, registration deadlines, and voting options in North Carolina, such as voting by mail, early voting, or voting with a disability. Find the guide in the voters section at aarp.org/NC and listen each week to AARP Without Limits for important election news and much more. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Psst. Hello there, it's me, your internal clock. Yes, the one you sleep through on weekends. You've probably heard my TikToks, but I'm straight up sounding the bell now. It's almost time to start applying for college. That means you got transcripts to gather, letters of rec to request, and campus tours to schedule. But hey, we've got time, and we've got CFNC. CFNC.org can help us plan, apply, and pay for college. We got this, trust me. Just visit CFNC.org to help us stay on time.
Since the pandemic, life expectancy in our state has declined, and Cone Health is pledging millions of dollars and countless man-hours to address health disparities in medically underserved areas of the state. We'll talk with Dr. Olujegede, who is helping to lead Cone Health's Catch 5 in 5 initiative. The North Carolina Healthcare Association and the North Carolina News Network invite you to learn more on this month's Conversations on the State of Healthcare, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast or by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Smile Train has helped millions of kids with clefts. Learn more at smiletrain.org/learn.
This is Adam Gold.
Frankly, I'm not sure that there is a sport that we could theoretically even put in the Olympics that isn't. I said bowling. Yeah, maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Croquet? Lawn darts?
I'm waiting for cornhole.
Oh, there's somebody that thinks, yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Lee Sterling's going to drop by in about 10 minutes or so, and we'll get you set for all the info you need for the football week ahead. State's got Northern Illinois. We got the victory bell, Duke and Carolina. Can the Panthers extend their winning streak to 2 in a row? That would be a bona fide hot streak for the Carolina Panthers.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Plus, we have Alabama, Georgia this week. Alabama at home getting points. When was the last time the Crimson Tide were a home underdog? It's got to be the year before Nick Saban. Has to be. I'm guessing. I don't know if Lee Sterling knows the answer to that. But I do know this. It is getting real at the President's Cup.
Oh, boy. Is it getting spicy?
No. The United States leads in 4 matches. The Internationals lead in 1 match. Tony Finau and Xander Schauffele are 2 up on Ben On and Jason Day. They are through 10. Keegan Bradley and Wyndham Clark are 2 up on Christian Bezuidenhout and Taylor Pendrith. Bradley and Clark 2 up through 7. Russell Henley and Scotty Scheffler 1 up through 8 on Sungjae Im and Tan Kim. Sam Burns and Patrick Cantlay 1 up through 6 on Corey Connors and Hideki Matsuyama. The only international lead right now, Adam Scott, Minwoo Lee 1 up on Colin Morikawa and Sahith Theegala, and that is through 9 holes. And the international side weeps. It's just the President's Cup. It's all it is. All right. It is time for the 5 best and 5 worst teams in the National Football League. Top 5, bottom 5, and then we'll probably get to some picks for the week. Oh man, here we go. I always give Victoria the option. Where do I start?
Ooh.
The 5 worst or the 5 best?
Let's get the ugly out of the way so we can lead on a positive note to Lee.
All right, so we start with number 28?
Yes.
Number 28, the Cincinnati Bengals. 0-3 on the year. Yeah, I know. They could be 2-1. But what did Bill Parcells say? You are what your record says you are. And the Bengals, it says, are a winless football team. 0-3. Bengals have some issues they got to get through. They haven't been great defensively, and that's an issue. I think Andy Dalton's going to be all over this. I like the Panthers' chances. Not really. All right, number 29, and this was difficult. I could have gone Cleveland. I did not. I went Las Vegas. They play each other. I'm not saying they're the same team. I think the Browns are bad. But I went Raiders at 29 because, why? Because they just lost to the Panthers. So that'll be an interesting game coming up on Sunday. Number 30, the New England Patriots, who again, how did you beat the Bengals again? Maybe because the Bengals are on this list among the 5 worst teams right now. 1-2 playing at another 1-2 team, but I do believe we all believe San Francisco is pretty good. They're just kind of banged up. Christian McCaffrey did go to Germany, I think to get stem cell treatment on his calf Achilles, which has been keeping him out of the lineup. Number 31, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Remember when Trevor Lawrence was the next best thing? Yep, he's in danger of losing his job, and Doug Peterson is in danger of losing his job.
Right.
Quarterback and coach. Jacksonville is at Houston. Ain't getting any better for the Jaguars. And number 32. We don't have a drum roll, right? What do you expect at number 32, Victoria?
Oh, number 32?
No! They're not on the list.
I was going to say, it can't be the Panthers.
Dominated. They just dominated. They're not on the list. Tennessee, 0-3.
Oh, yeah.
If for no other reason than you just don't know how Will Levis is going to derp up a game.
So bad.
He is terrible.
Oh, my gosh.
Terrible.
So bad.
Anybody who eats the banana right through the peel should have never been drafted.
Big question.
Forget it. Anywhere. Should have never been drafted anywhere.
No.
Tennessee is 0-3. All right. Should I go 5-1?
Yes.
We'll go 1-5. Well, no, let's go 5-1.
Okay.
Number 5, the New Orleans Saints. I know they lost to Philadelphia, but I can't decide if neither team wanted to win or if they just both made too many. I don't know. I think the Saints actually might have something to them. They have a prolific offense, although neither team showed it against each other, which is kind of the weirdest thing because the Saints are a good running football team. Alvin Kamara had 4 touchdowns against Dallas, and then Philadelphia, who cannot stop the run, suddenly the Saints couldn't score. But I have the Saints at number 5. Number 4, the Green Bay Packers, who have been winning games with Malik Willis at quarterback. Makes you wonder why Malik Willis is not still with Tennessee. Just, I don't know, throw that in there. Meanwhile, the Packers, number 4, are playing at home against number 3, Minnesota. Minnesota has their Green Bay's old running back, Aaron Jones, who's already talked about doing the Lambeau leap. I'm going to say that he's not even going to score a touchdown, and that was probably the wrong thing to say. Like, I'm not a bulletin board material guy. Okay, I don't believe in it.
Yeah.
But talking about how you were going to do the Lambeau leap in the stadium that you called home against a pretty good football team is that's bad karma.
Mm-hmm.
That's bad, as you like to say, juju.
It is bad juju.
And I don't fancy Aaron Jones's chances, on top of the fact that I have him on my fantasy team, and after scoring over 200 points last week, I guarantee I will score under 100 this week. Guaranteed. It was a bizarre week last week. Number 2, the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Let's be honest. They could easily be 1-2.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Isaiah Likely comes down with both feet, all 10 toes inbounds. They lose that game. I don't think they lose that game. Baltimore was going for 2, but they could have lost that game.
A lot of people are mad at some calls that were made or not made in their games.
100%. So Kansas City has been, in some ways, fortunate. They have played no easy games at all. They get the Chargers this week. That will not be easy. Chargers are 2-1 and a difficult team to play against. I have the Kansas City Chiefs at number 2 and the Buffalo Bills at number 1, but they are going to Baltimore. Bit of a Ravens nest, if you will. But Buffalo is... They're more than Josh Allen. But Josh Allen has a point to prove, and he is playing like the MVP. Granted, we've talked about how the NFL is really 3 different seasons. It's the beginning where, whatever. Maybe these teams are better than we thought. Then you got to get through the slog of the middle. But we are still in the early stages of this season. I don't think we're into the second phase of the NFL until we get into like week 6 or so, maybe week 7. We're still in the beginning of the year. Then we get into that pulpy middle where strange, weird things happen, and then we see where everybody is as we turn for home once we get into anything post-Thanksgiving, the last 5 or 6 weeks of the season. But I think Buffalo is the best team. They have played well defensively. They've had to overcome some personnel losses in the secondary. It's a brand new set of wide receivers. No Stephon Diggs. Josh Allen, he backed away from it having any meaning, and I don't know what the meaning was when he said it's great. We've got a bunch of guys who want to share the ball and share in the credit, and nobody cares who gets targets and who gets touchdowns. And there were people who immediately attributed that comment to Josh Allen being glad that Stephon Diggs is not there. I would point this out. Stephon Diggs didn't have a great year last year.
He did not.
So it is what it is.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen might very well have hated the fact that Diggs was so outwardly upset with how it went last year. But sometimes you just don't have a good year.
Yeah.
So the Bills, I still worry. Kincaid is great. James Cook is great.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm still not 100. But based on what I've seen for 3 weeks, I think the Buffalo Bills are the best team in the league right now. So that is top 5, bottom 5 as we head into week number 4. For those people who are big Mets fans or Braves fans, no game today, no game tomorrow. Major League Baseball and the Mets and the Braves have agreed that those 2 teams will meet in Atlanta at Truist Field Park area for a doubleheader on Monday because nobody was willing to move the game, Thursday's game, to Monday for various reasons. The Mets didn't want to play on an off day. The Braves didn't want to play on an off day. And the Braves realized that they had 40,000 people in the stands Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and were afraid that the gate for Monday wouldn't be as good because it wasn't previously scheduled. It is, of course, idiotic because that doubleheader on Monday means that the Braves are losing a gate automatically because it's not going to be a day-night doubleheader. It's going to be a back-to-back 40 minutes separating Game 1 and Game 2. And because it isn't a previously scheduled game, automatically the ticket sales will be lower because it just will not be a planned event. But it will be great viewing. It's very possible that Mets-Braves Monday will be for either one team to make the playoffs, the other team to go home, or maybe we're talking about playoff positioning based on what the Diamondbacks do this weekend with the Padres. All right, let's get everybody ready for the start of Week 4 in the NFL, Week 5 in college football. Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show at Paramount Sports. I have been out the last 2 Thursdays, Sarah, but I appreciate you and Victoria talking MMA. And we will allow for you guys to climb into the octagon again. She's been bragging that she got you a couple of weeks ago, but that's fine. Let's talk about the battle for the victory bell. Mack Brown is 5-0 since his return against Duke. The last two have been very high scoring. Duke is 4-0. Carolina is a 3-1 mess after allowing 70 to JMU. What say you, Lee Sterling?
Boy, those meetings must have been crazy. What's going on? And Mack Brown probably lost it here. He's got to fix it. And he and Jeff Collins, I think, will do a better job this week. It was just one of those games you can't fix it during the game here. As bad as it was, on offense, they still gained 616 yards.
Right.
We're their third quarterback. So I think Jacoby Criswell, if he can just cut down on the turnovers, they're going to have a shot here. What concerns me with Duke is they've yet to crack 4 yards per carry running in any of the 4 games here. I think this is going to go down to the last play. I've got North Carolina pulling off the small upset, 31-30.
Yeah, I think when I look at this, I actually see lower scoring because I do think that Duke will have trouble running the ball. They're a big play passing offense.
Right.
Carolina's been kind of giving up a lot of big plays. But I'm not sure. I think Duke's defense can keep this low scoring. But I agree. I think North Carolina ekes out a win. NC State and their coach, Dave Doran, playing for the first time, his old school, Northern Illinois. Wolfpack smarting after giving up $1 billion to Clemson, and a lot of that was early. Northern Illinois is good. They beat Notre Dame, but they haven't been good since. What do you think?
So I know this kid real well who's playing quarterback, C.J. Bailey. He's a 4-year starter. School's about 30 minutes away from him. I've seen him play twice. This kid's going to come on and get the job done. Just a bad matchup last week, facing Clemson that was blitzing him early and often here. I think the defense will be able to match up better with the Northern Illinois offense here, and maybe they try a trick play or two. I'm going to go with NC State. I think they get back on track here, 28-20.
28-20. It's still a pretty close game. All right. Before we get to the Panthers, who are trying to extend their one-game winning streak, Georgia, Alabama. I don't know if you know the answer to this. I don't. I can't recall the last time Alabama was an underdog on their own field. It has to be prior to Nick Saban. But they are hosting Georgia, getting a couple of points.
I don't know the year, but they were an underdog, I think, in either the first or second year. So they actually lost in the first year to Louisiana Monroe, which
they did.
A lot of people forget about, but a lot of talent. I mean, Jalen Milroe for Alabama, dual-threat quarterback. Carson Beck for Georgia. He's going to probably go in the top 5. Both teams have running backs galore. Georgia mixes and matches like 5 guys. Bama goes with Jam Miller and Justice Haynes at running back. This might come down to one big play at receiver, and if it does, I think Ryan Williams is the guy. I know he's 17. I know he should still be in high school. He reclassified. But in his 10 catches, he has 4 touchdowns. Georgia, last year they had Brock Bowers at tight end, Ladd McConkey at receiver. This year they thought it was going to be Dominic Lovett, but 9 catches, but no touchdowns, yet to reach the end zone. And the home team in top 5 clashes, the home team has won 17 of the 27 matchups here. Tough game, fun game to watch. This is why we all tune in. I like Bama. Wrong team favorite, 27-24.
27. Wow, to put 27 points on Georgia's defense will be something else. All right, Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports at Paramount Sports on Twitter. The Panthers have won 1 in a row. That's a lot for the Panthers. That's a lot. The Bengals are 0-3. It's so easy to go, well, they're 0-3. You know they're going to be, going bananas. But the Panthers are on fire. I don't know how you stop the Panthers right now.
So they did look great, but here's the problem. They surrender the most points in the league, over 31 points per game. They were lit up by Derek Carr. Joe Burrow, much better than Carr. The Carolina defense could be missing, well, they will be missing their best player in Derek Brown. That's a big loss. They've lost 17 of the last 20 games. This is, if not the worst team, the second worst team in the NFL, right there with New England. This is a desperate Bengals team here. They just got off to a bad start in that game Monday night. I like the Bengals, 31-17.
All right. I want to leave you and Victoria time to climb into the octagon. I'm not doing a Michael Buffer-like introduction. I have no clue who are punching and kicking each other this week. So, Victoria, what?
She's going to lead off. She's going to lead off. She was the winner.
Yeah.
So, like golf, she'll start off. Go ahead.
All right, you have the honors.
Oh, okay. I'm
watching the President's Cup. Victoria's
I'm
honors.
so honored to do that. UFC is in Paris this weekend, so it's actually starting early. It's a little brunch and punch action happening. So I'm going to take the co-main event this time because it worked out well for me last time. I'm excited for this. It's Brendan Allen versus Nasruddin Imavov. These two should be interesting. Brendan Allen, he's on a heater. He's probably going to have his fuzzy little hat. He's also a submission freak. So I think that's going to come into play here. Nasruddin, he's really talented. He's on a 2-fight win streak. However, Brendan Allen did just beat Chris Curtis. It was a split decision, but Chris likes to knock guys out. Nasruddin likes to knock guys out too. And so Allen, he's used to this fighting style. So give me Brendan Allen to win the co-main event. He's already the underdog anyway. I think it's around like plus 176. So give me Brendan Allen and his fuzzy hat in Paris this weekend, please.
All right. I like the pick. I'm going to go with a feature prelim fight. The first fight starts at 12 o'clock, so this will be probably about 2:30. So Ian the Hulk Kudalaba, he's only 30. He's been fighting in the UFC since 2016. Here's a guy, decent record, but he's 6-9 in the UFC. He's a ruler of the bottom feeders. He beats the bad fighters, can't beat the good fighters. So he's anywhere from minus 105 to minus 120, fighting a guy named Ivan Urslan. Ivan Urslan is from Croatia, 32, has never fought in the UFC. Same thing. The line on him, if you want to take him, is minus 105 to minus 120. The worst record fighter he's fought is 11-4 over the last 5 years. Fought some real good fighters here. He's well-rounded. I think he's going to TKO Kudalaba, and this might be Kudalaba's swan song here. Great nickname, the Hulk, but I think this is going to be his last fight here. We're going to take Ivan Urslan from Croatia here, minus 110.
All right, Ivan against the Hulk. I felt like I was watching or listening to wrestling commentary there, and somebody named Allen, right, to win.
Yes, Brendan Allen.
Brendan Allen to win, who is apparently a submission freak. I'm not sure this is a family show any longer. Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports, at Paramount Sports on Twitter. As we say goodbye, any other words of wisdom?
That's it. Anyone wants to come on board? Last week we had the Baker's Dozen, 13 games. That produced a winning record. We don't call it October coming up at Paramount Sports. We call it Locktober. Oh. You can get 5 weeks of games, normally $547. If you use coupon code SAVE200, $347 for 5 weeks of games. You're going to get 9 to 13 games a week. We rate them from 10 to 50 units, and our first 40 to 50 unit major wager best bet goes on Saturday. We're 66-24 lifetime on these 40 to 50 unit games. So use that coupon code SAVE200, just $347. One place, ParamountSports.com.
There you go. That's Lee Sterling. I appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Okay, take care.
Locktober. Very nice. A submission freak?
Oh, it's so much fun. I love talking with Lee about this stuff.
I lost it
he
for
is
a second there.
submission freak.
Lee? No, never, don't. No, don't. All right, we got to go. NFL Week 4 starts tonight. Tomorrow, we'll get you ready for the Hurricanes. Victoria, thank you. See you later.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from